Chapter 600. This person's words reminded everyone. At that time, they thought that she would do it because of this case. Since she was the suspect, how could they not be nervous when they saw her tying up a person and preparing to kill him? Therefore, they were not responsible for this incident. It was that psychopath's fault. Was it fun to kidnap someone for no reason? Something must have happened. Chief Zhang glared fiercely at those people, and they immediately lowered their heads. Here, one thing was another. Even if the psychopath was the suspect, they did not have direct evidence. They could not shoot her. When Shi Shang heard that he was a suspect in a murder case, he was stunned. What did you just say? He felt that he was hearing things. The police officer coughed. Tonight at 3 a.m, someone reported a fire at Landscape Century. The firefighters found a body after putting out the fire. The deceased was confirmed to be the actress, Liang Qing. When the police were collecting evidence, they found your fingerprints at the scene. So, Miss Liu, can you tell me where you were from 1 to 3 in the morning? Of course I was sleeping in the middle of the night. Shi Shang glared fiercely. This is awesome. I can actually leave my fingerprints in the air. I don't even know where Liang Qing lives. How can I leave my fingerprints? No, the point is, Liang Qing is dead. As one of the female leads, Liang Qing is dead? The police officer was speechless. Was this Liu Shunga crazy? Ahem. Miss Liu, do you have any proof? Shi Shang looked at the police officer strangely and exploded. You arranged for someone to watch you sleep? The police officer said weakly, I have a partner. There was no need to arrange for someone. So what if you have a partner? I don't have one. Miss Liu, calm down. The police officer thought that he had agitated Shi Shang and quickly comforted her. The lawyer who had been watching the show was speechless. Why was he here? This young lady seemed to be noisy and a little unreliable, but she was very clear about what she should and shouldn't say. So what was he here for? The police officer could not continue questioning Shi Shang and quickly went out to ask someone else. However, before the person could ask a few questions, Shi Shang scolded him. You were serious, but she was even more serious. She did not even care about being lenient if you confessed. In the end, only Zhang Ju went up personally. Chief Zhang pulled out a chair and sat down. He flipped through the records of the previous officers before raising his head and introducing himself. Shi Shang glanced at him but didn't say anything. Chief Zhang didn't mind. What kind of person hadn't he seen before? How could he not be able to handle this little girl? Miss Liu said that you were sleeping between 1 and 3 in the morning, right? Why are you still asking the same questions? Are you crazy? Would I be able to retract my confession if I asked again? No, I'm looking at the stars. What happened to not retracting his testimony? Miss Liu, this is the police station. Please watch your attitude. Chief Zhang's face darkened. She had already changed her words several times. Oh, then you should solve the previous problem first. We'll talk about the dead people later, Shi Shang said calmly. Those idiots almost beat me to death. You want to use a murder case to fool me? Do you think I'm retarded? Zhang Ju. This girl was a little too calm. He put his fist to his lips and coughed. This is indeed the fault of the police. We will give Miss Liu an explanation. Shi Shang waved his hand. Cut the crap. Ask them to compensate me for the damage done to my house, as well as mental compensation. Otherwise, I'll see you in court. Zhang Ju. This girl was quite easy to talk to. Easy my asterisks. Just now, they had received news from the villa that the things in her house could not even afford to buy one with their annual salary. Why? Are you trying to renege on your debt? Was I the one who broke those things? Zhang Ju felt like he was sitting on pins and needles. Which mental hospital was this lunatic released from? Hurry up and drag her back. After much negotiation, Chief Zhang finally decided that the police officers would collectively apologize. As for the compensation, they would pay a portion of it. If there was no compensation, they could only forget about it. Shi Shang accepted the apology and waved his hand generously. You won't find someone as easy to talk to as me. The group of police officers. Indeed, she was a lunatic who couldn't be found even with a lantern. They didn't want to pay, but she still wanted to call the media. They weren't afraid that she would hit them. They were more afraid that she wouldn't do such a dirty trick. Shi Shang wasn't retarded. If she hit them in the police station, wouldn't she be sending herself to their deaths? The group of police officers wanted to cry in the toilet. Their money. The police officers didn't have a high salary. It wasn't easy for them to save up some money. Now, it was all gone. They might even be demoted. They all wanted to die. Now, Miss Liu, can you tell us what you were doing when the murder happened? Do you have any witnesses? Zhang Ju tried to calm himself down. If this girl was a murderer, he wouldn't show any mercy. Sleeping, Shi Shang answered casually. I don't have the habit of being watched when I sleep. That means Miss Liu doesn't have any evidence to prove that you were sleeping when the crime happened. Then, other than my fingerprints at the scene, what other evidence do you have to prove that I was in that century? Zhang Ju was about to answer when the national anthem suddenly sounded. The voice came from Zhang Ju. He glanced at Shi Shang, took out his phone, got up, and went outside to answer the call. When Zhang Ju came back, his face was even more serious than before. Miss Liu, the surveillance camera at the entrance of Landscape Century caught you entering and exiting. The surveillance camera at Banyan Residence also caught you leaving at midnight. Miss Liu, do you have anything to say? Oh, so what? Zhang Ju was furious when he saw Shi Shang's relaxed expression. He wanted to go up and slap him. So what? That means you're the murderer. Zhang Ju swore that he had never wanted to hit a girl so much. Shi Shang propped up his chin. Let me give you two ideas. First, that person dressed up as me. As far as I know, the resolution of the surveillance camera at night isn't very high. Even if it's a high-end villa like Banyan Residence, it can't be 100% restored. Second, someone tampered with the surveillance camera. If it's the first, it's easy to identify. If it's the second, then it's troublesome. The murderer is very good. Zhang Ju was speechless. He had been a police officer for so many years, but he had never seen such a suspect. When the evidence pointed to her, she didn't react at all. Instead, she calmly helped him analyze the situation. All right, although she had removed herself from the picture when she was analyzing, this wasn't something a normal person could do. Zhang Ju felt that he should call a psychologist. This suspect was not only arrogant, but also very good. Asterisk hashtag pineapple flavored tickets today hashtag. Chapter 601. The psychiatrist arrived quickly, but there was another person who arrived at the same time as the psychiatrist. Chief Zhang didn't realize who they were talking about at first, but he did after a while. Are you talking about Mu Bai? The one from the Mu family? Yes, that's him. The police officer looked at him with admiration. I didn't expect to see him in person. I'm so happy. When I was still in school, I heard about his deeds and idolized him. It's a pity that he didn't enter the police system. Who was Mu Bai? Mu Bai's name was like thunder in the ears of all the major police academies. Even these old people were very familiar with this name. Mu Bai solved a serial dismemberment case when he was only 15 years old. He entered the police academy when he was 17 years old. After that, he solved many murder cases. His accuracy was as high as 100%. The halo of a genius blinded countless people. At that time, many people were fighting for Mu Bai. However, Mu Bai didn't enter the police system and went abroad to study. After that, there was no news about him. Only his legend remained. Now, this genius appeared in their police station. Was it going to rain red? Mu Bai stood in the police station for everyone to see. Behind him was a middle-aged man. If Shi Shang was here, he would definitely recognize this man. He was the weird uncle who sat at the back of the auction and followed her. He's so handsome. He's much more handsome than the picture on the school's celebrity list. I heard that his family is very rich. I wonder if it's true. It's true. I was in the same batch as him. At that time, the school prohibited any special treatment. In the end, the Mu family donated a simulated murder laboratory building to the school. He could drive to and from school by himself. Most of the time, he wasn't in school. Everyone was in an uproar. If this happened to an ordinary police officer, he would have been fired. Of course, the key is that he's very good. Even if he wasn't in school, his training and studies were always far ahead. He's a long way ahead of the second place. If he didn't have the ability, the school wouldn't have agreed even if he donated a lot of money. Everyone agreed with this point. They had all come from school. When the crowd was about to gather, Chief Zhang welcomed Mu Bai into the office. "Mr. Mu, what brings you here today?" Chief Zhang sized up the man who used to be a genius. At this moment, he still looked dazzling and stood at the top. Some people were just like that. They obviously had a good background, but they still had amazing talent. "You can go now, but you can't leave the city. Wait for my summons." Shi Shang, who was playing with a policeman's phone, suddenly heard this and looked up in surprise. "Am I not a suspect? How can you bear to let me go? What if I run away?" The police officer who passed the message. "Thank you so much for being so considerate." When Shi Shang came out of the interrogation room, Han Xiao immediately went up to him and said, "President Liu, you're finally out." Han Xiao waited here for as long as Shi Shang was inside. Fortunately, he was fine. Shi Shang left the police station in confusion. When she walked out of the police station, she remembered the man in a suit. "Where's that man in a suit?" "He was picked up by someone. I saw him get into a Bentley. I memorized the license plate number." Shi Shang took the license plate from Han Xiao and went back to the police station. When the police officers saw that the lunatic that they had just sent away had returned, they were all on high alert. They were already so poor that they had to eat dirt. They didn't want to have nothing to eat. Shi Shang grabbed a policeman and asked him to check the license plate number. The policeman cried, "This is against the rules." Although that was what he said, the policeman still helped Shi Shang to check it. The car was registered under the name of a man named Li Gong. He was the president of a company. Li Gong? Li Gong? This name was amazing. Li Gong had both old and young at home, and he had a good reputation in the circle. He had no bad discipline, and he didn't have a mistress. So why would his people send her flowers? Was there something wrong with him? Shi Shang left the police station again and bumped into Yi Feng at the door. He was wearing a black trench coat and came in with a cold face. When he saw Shi Shang, his eyes lit up and he rushed directly to Shi Shang. "Lu Shengge, how can you be so evil? You killed Qingqing." Han Xiao stepped forward and blocked the aggressive Yi Feng. "Mr. Yi, President Liu has nothing to do with this case." "Nothing to do with her?" "Her fingerprints were at the scene." "How can it have nothing to do with her?" "President Liu has no grudge with Miss Liang. Why did you kill her?" "Mr. Yi, please watch your words. Otherwise, I will sue you for false accusation." Although Han Xiao usually looked useless, when it came to serious business, Han Xiao was not careless at all. "She's just jealous." Yi Feng gritted his teeth and his eyes were full of regret. "Jealous?" Shi Shang pushed Han Xiao away and the corner of his mouth curved into a mocking smile. "Jealous that she found a man who can marry anyone he wants? Marry anyone he wants?" Was he scolding him? "Lu Shengge. What? You want to hit me?" Shi Shang stretched his face in front of Yi Feng. His face was full of provocation. "Come and hit me. If you dare to touch a hair on I will dare to beat you up here. Even your woman won't recognize you." Yi Feng looked at the fair and clean face in front of him, and his anger rose. He clenched his fists and raised them fiercely. "Sir, please don't make trouble in front of the police station." Two policemen suddenly cut in from the side and blocked them. "Miss Liu, please leave quickly. Don't make trouble here." "How can she leave?" She's a murderer. Yi Feng's voice involuntarily rose. You saw me kill someone? Shi Shang rolled his eyes. If I kill someone, don't worry, I will never let these idiots find any evidence. Not even the body. In the modern world, destroying the body was a little troublesome, but it did not mean that she could not destroy it completely. Policeman. Is it really okay to say such words? You're looking down on us too much. Mr. Yi, right? The policeman quickly changed the topic and looked at Yi Feng. Miss Lu is now only a suspect, not a murderer. So please watch your words. The police pulled Yi Feng inside and purposely separated the two of them. Now, both of them were major suspects. When Yi Feng unwillingly entered the police station, Han Xiao breathed a sigh of relief. But she did not forget to smear Yi Feng's name. This Yi Feng indiscriminately accused you of being a murderer. I heard from those people that he was with Liang Qing before. Maybe he killed her. Shi Shang looked at Han Xiao. Why did they suddenly let me go? Han Xiao was confused. Didn't President Liu get rid of the suspicion? Do you think it's like washing clothes? Shi Shang rolled his eyes. Did anything strange happen outside just now? Strange. Han Xiao thought for a while. Does a handsome man count? But he didn't stay for long. He left after about half an hour. Chapter 602. Han Xiao didn't know that man. She was standing some distance away from those people, so she didn't hear their discussion. She only saw that those people were excited. Shi Shang's eyes flashed with a strange look. Ever since the last auction, inexplicable things had been happening. The man in the suit, the greeting gift, the flowers, and that strange uncle. Now, he was inexplicably released. The car that picked up the man in the suit was Li Gong's car, but Li Gong wasn't a person who liked to eat, drink, and gamble, so he definitely wasn't the one who sent her the flowers. Then this car must be for the young master that the man in the suit was talking about. Go and find out which company Li Gong's company is based in, Shi Shang ordered Han Xiao. Ha! Han Xiao was confused. Mr. Li's company. She had some impression of this Li Gong. He seemed to have started his own company and didn't have a head office. However, Shi Shang didn't want to listen to Han Xiao. He lowered his head and continued to think. Now she couldn't figure out how she could come out. Was it related to the handsome guy that Han Xiao mentioned? If it was related, was he the young master that the man in the suit was talking about? If so, what was this idiot's purpose? It was so complicated. She didn't want to guess anymore. Block soldiers with arms, water with an earth weir, and people with a sword. Idiots must be destroyed. Yes. Let's do it. Back at the villa, Shi Shang was heartbroken when he saw the mess in the house. Damn it, the compensation from the idiots at the police station wasn't even enough to buy her a sofa. Ring. Shi Shang and Han Xiao looked outside the door at the same time. They had just returned and someone was already here? Han Xiao stepped on the glass shards on the ground and moved to the door. She looked at the person through the video walkie-talkie. It was a person dressed as an installer outside. Who are you looking for? Is this Miss Lu Xinge? The person outside the door answered quickly. Han Xiao frowned. Yes. Who are you? We are Unju Renovation Company. The furniture that Miss Lu ordered has arrived. Could you please let the security guard know so that we can send it in? Miss Lu, when did you order the furniture? Han Xiao looked at Shi Shang in surprise. Miss Lu was in the mood to order furniture in the police station. I didn't. Shi Shang shook his head innocently. You didn't? Send it to the wrong person? But he said your name. Han Xiao confirmed with the people outside again. That's right. Shi Shang, there's an idiot coveting my beauty, I'm scared. In the end, that group of people was chased away. I won't take bribes if I haven't done anything. Most importantly, I don't lack money. I can't accept things of unknown origin. The news of Liang Qing's murder was eventually exposed. When the fire first broke out in Landscape Century, there were already reporters paying attention to it. Later on, the police came in and out, strictly prohibiting reporters from entering or leaving. Liang Qing was a public figure, and there were many people paying attention to her. It was not difficult for people to find out something. The power of the masses should not be underestimated. Once Liang Qing's incident came out, for some reason, everyone's attention was drawn to the lucky bracelet. Could this bracelet made of the same material as the angel's heart really bring luck? As for Shi Shang, this suspect, he was naturally dug out by people. Extreme fans even ran outside of Banyan residence to scold him, catching batches after batches. Fortunately, these people couldn't enter Banyan residence, but they definitely couldn't run away from complaints from the owners. At the gate of Banyan residence, a group of people dressed in black, holding a portrait of Liang Qing, holding a banner that said, "Pay with your life for the murder, seek justice." A car drove through the agitated crowd and entered the underground garage of Banyan residence. The car stopped quietly, and someone ran over quickly from a distance. The chaotic footsteps were particularly abrupt in the basement. Several people stood respectfully outside the car. "Young master." The car door was opened, but it was a man in a suit who came out. There was another person sitting in the car, but he didn't have any intention of getting out. The light in the basement slanted in, illuminating half of his figure. His white hand slowly raised, and he hooked his finger outside. The man in the suit stepped aside and motioned for the leading man outside to enter. The man nervously got into the car, and the man in the suit closed the door. The car gently shook a few times, and calmed down. The basement was silent, and the people standing outside stepped back, looking frightened. The car door opened, and the man scrambled out. His voice trembled. "Young master, I'll do it right away." He was about to leave with his men when the person in the car suddenly said, "Wait a minute. Young master, do you have any other orders?" The man immediately bowed respectfully, as if he couldn't wait to kneel down. "Send this to her." His white hand reached out of the car and handed over a box. The man took it with trembling hands. "Yes." The man in the suit watched the people leave, and a trace of sympathy flashed across his expressionless face. With Miss Lu's personality, it would be strange if they could send it out. He didn't know what was wrong with the young master, but he fell for that psychopath. Could it be that psychopaths find psychopaths more pleasing to the eye? The man in the suit suddenly felt that his young master was looking at him. Just as he looked over, his young master suddenly reached out to close the car door, and the car sped off, the man in the suit. "Young master, even if you abandon me, it doesn't change the fact that you're a psychopath. If you're sick, take medicine. I think you can still be saved." The fans gathered outside by Nian residence were immediately cleared away. If anyone dared to cause trouble here, wait for a lawyer's letter. Those who couldn't go to Bai Nian residence could only curse Shi Shang online. Being kept as a mistress, shameless. In any case, they would say whatever was unpleasant to hear. Han Xiao was angry, but there was nothing she could do. Her chairman Lu didn't care. Han Xiao touched the talisman on her chest from time to time. She always felt that Chairman Lu was gloomy. The man went to deliver the item after dealing with this matter, but the result was the same as the others. He didn't even get to see the item, let alone deliver it. Whatever the young master instructed him to do, he must do it well. So the man began to wander around the Shi Shang villa unrelentingly, trying to deliver the item. However, the man was too naive. He had never seen it so difficult to deliver something. "You should at least see it. Don't you know that it's very rude to refuse without seeing it?" In the end, he didn't deliver the item. When the man returned the item, he was beaten up and came back with a bloody nose and a swollen face. That pitiful look made the others sigh. Don't provoke the young master. Too scary. Today's interview little fairy reporter. Mr. Feng, who pays every time you go out to eat with Shi Sheng? Feng Ci. Usually, it's me. Little fairy reporter. What about unusual situations? Feng Ci. Dine and dash. Little fairy reporter. Hee, I didn't expect Mr. Feng to be so cute. Did Mr. Feng give Shi Sheng any special gifts? Feng Ci. Me. Little fairy reporter. An? Feng ci, cold glance, isn't it enough to have me? Little fairy reporter. Chapter 603. Chairman Liu, this is the information you asked me to check. Han Xiao handed the information that she had painstakingly obtained to Shi Sheng. Li Gong's company didn't have a head office. He started from scratch and had a clean background. Shi Sheng was silent. She thought of the man who had sent her something recently. The last time she caught the man in a suit, she found out that he was a young master, and he was a nameless person. What the hell was this? Before Shi Sheng could figure out who the young master was, the police station sent someone to take her to the police station. Outside the police station, a group of reporters blocked the door. The police officer driving the car was stunned. Why are there so many reporters? The police officer didn't dare to drive closer. If he drove over, he would definitely be blocked. Liang Qing's case attracted a lot of attention. Recently, the police station security had been upgraded. The police officer contacted the people inside and asked them to find a way to get rid of the reporters. However, the people inside couldn't do anything. These people were like crazy. Drive in, we're not afraid of them. Shi Sheng sat in the back and began to express his opinion. They're obstructing official business. You can arrest them. The police officer. In this world, it was better not to offend the reporters. They could praise you to the sky with a pen, but they could also trample you to hell. Although the police officer didn't want to be discovered by the reporters, there were still some sharp-eyed reporters who saw the car parked here. They swarmed over and kept knocking on the window. The sharp and fast questions were a little muffled through the glass, but they were still harsh. Miss Liu, what happened between you and Miss Liang? Miss Liu, you were identified as the prime suspect by the police, but you were released when you were younger than 24. Was there a deal? Miss Liu, did you kill Miss Liang? The police officer kept contacting the police station and asked them to send people out to separate these terrible creatures. The police probably hated to be entangled with reporters. Sometimes, because of an unconscious sentence, the reporters could interpret it and change it into a completely different meaning, causing a storm on the internet. In such a tense atmosphere, Shi Sheng was still sitting calmly. There was even a trace of a smile at the corner of his mouth. The police officer got goosebumps from that smile. What was this lunatic trying to do? At this moment, Shi Sheng suddenly opened the car door and swaggered out of the car. The reporters were forced to retreat, but when Shi Sheng steadied himself, they quickly surrounded him again. The police officer's expression changed. Miss Liu, come out quickly, she's getting off the car. The last sentence was said by the police officer into the phone. Miss Liu, I heard that you had a conflict with Miss Liang not long ago. Did you kill someone because of that? Miss Liu, can you tell me how you feel right now? Shi Sheng looked at the reporter who had accused him of murder. His calm eyes met the sharp gaze of the reporter, and sparks flew in the air. Then, Shi Sheng defeated the reporter with his overwhelming gaze. The reporter's momentum suddenly weakened, and the blood in his body seemed to freeze. He felt that the person standing in front of him was not a girl, but a demon grinding his teeth, ready to pounce on him and tear his throat out. The reporter really didn't know why he had such a feeling. The person standing in front of him was clearly a young and beautiful lady. Did the police announce that I'm a murderer? Shi Sheng's red lips moved slightly, and the aura around him suddenly became fierce. Who said that I killed someone just now? Come out now. I'll show you what it means to kill someone. The reporters were silent. She was a suspect, but her aura was stronger than theirs. Miss Liu, are you bluffing? You're guilty, right? You did this to Miss Liang. Don't you feel afraid when you dream about it in the middle of the night? Someone suddenly questioned loudly. Shi Sheng narrowed his eyes at the man who had questioned her. This man looked very angry, and his eyes were red. He was probably Liang Qing's fan. What did I do to her? Shi Sheng was amused. Why did these people act as if they had seen her kill someone? Why did they come here to seek justice? Are you Conan or Bao Zheng? Since you're so awesome, Why don't you call the shots in this world? Why do you need the people's police? The reporters were speechless. Why didn't this girl follow the script when she was angry? This was not in line with their script. Director, let's do it again. She should at least have some evidence to back her up, right? She was just making wild guesses for no reason. If she wasn't retarded, then what was? The group of reporters was stunned by Shishang's words for a long time. They only regained their senses when Shishang pushed them aside and entered the police station. However, she had already entered the police station. They couldn't possibly barge in, right? Shishang walked quickly, and the police officer jogged behind her. He was still a little confused. This Miss Liu was so awesome. He couldn't stand those reporters who jumped to conclusions. They could make a big deal out of a small matter. They were so smug when they exposed other people's privacy to the public. Although there were good reporters in this profession, there were countless reporters who used special methods to attract attention. Every year, there were many people who were forced to their deaths by these scum. Shishang entered the police station. The person who received her was Zhang Ju. This time, they were not in the interrogation room, but in a conference room. Zhang Ju wasn't the only one in the conference room. There were two other people. Shishang saw a middle-aged man standing there first. Weird uncle. The middle-aged man nodded slightly. Hello, Miss Liu. The corners of Shishang's mouth twitched. She looked at the man sitting at the conference table. Shishang was a little tired of looking at people. She felt that everyone looked the same, so she only thought that the man in front of her was quite good-looking. He had sharp eyebrows, bright eyes, a high nose bridge, and rosy lips. However, his skin was very fair, so he didn't look weird. What Shishang was more concerned about was the oppressive aura around Mu Bai. It wasn't obvious. Ordinary people might not notice it, but Shishang, who had seen countless people, could tell at a glance. This man seemed to be hiding his true self. What he showed in front of others was just an illusion. Shishang blinked. A dark light flashed across her eyes. This man was not Feng Xiai, but he was very dangerous. Stay away or kill him. Shishang quickly made a decision. It was more troublesome to kill him in this world. It was better to stay away. Mu Bai sensed that Shishang was sizing him up. He raised his head slightly, pursed his lips into a line, and nodded in greeting. Miss Liu, let me introduce you. This is Mr. Mu Bai. It's all thanks to Mr. Mu that this case was solved. Zhang Ju said a lot of nonsense. However, Shishang also provided the information she needed. The last time she had been released so quickly, it was because of this man. This time, she was called because the murderer had been caught. Asterisk, please vote. Please vote. Chapter 604. Liang Qing's murderer was a serial killer from 5 years ago. He had a high IQ and was extremely perverted. He hadn't been caught 5 years ago, so he wanted to do something big. He spent a long time figuring out Liang Qing's formation and happened to know that Shishang and Liang Qing had a dispute. That was how the plot came to be. How did he get my fingerprints? Shishang asked. Zhang Ju frowned. Before he could answer, Mu Bai interrupted. There was a fire alarm in your villa. He sneaked into the villa among the inspectors and got your fingerprints. Fire alarm? Shishang had no recollection of this. But this confession was from Han Xiao. Could it have happened when she wasn't around? Although she spent most of her time in the villa, she would go out occasionally. When she went out, Han Xiao would be the only one at home. Han Xiao wouldn't tell her if it wasn't a big deal. These people definitely wouldn't tell Shishang the details of the case, so Chief Zhang quickly changed the topic. Miss Liu has been wronged these days. We will hold a press conference in a few days. Miss Liu, please bear with it for a few more days. If there's nothing else, I'm leaving. I don't want to stay with this pervert. I want to go out and breathe the free air. I'll send Miss Liu off. Mu Bai suddenly stood up. Shishang. No, I don't want you to send me off. I'm afraid I won't be able to resist killing you. For your own safety, please don't send me off. However, Mu Bai and Shi Shang didn't have the telepathy skill. He had already walked to the door and opened it like a gentleman. Shi Shang sat back down. I want to rest. Mr. Mu, you can leave first. Mu Bai's mouth twitched slightly. His eyes flickered for a moment, then he nodded to Chief Zhang and left the meeting room. The middle-aged man hurriedly followed Mu Bai out. Before he left, he seemed to have glanced at Shi Shang. He was so fast that even Shi Shang didn't catch it. Miss Liu, you don't seem to like Mr. Mu? Chief Zhang could tell that Shi Shang was doing it on purpose. It couldn't be more obvious. Why should I like a stranger? Shi Shang looked at Chief Zhang as if he was retarded. Is he RMB? Should everyone like him? Hey, how could a little girl like you speak like that? He was just asking casually. Why did she have to be so agitated? Moreover, with Mu Bai's figure, his looks, and his net worth, aren't they exactly what you girls like? Alright, this lunatic was different from what ordinary girls thought. After all, he used to be a CEO. I heard that he has been mentally unstable ever since he went bankrupt. Chief Zhang felt that he was going to have a heart attack. He quickly left the meeting room and dragged a policeman in to wait for this lunatic to leave. When Shi Shang left the police station, she was harassed by the reporters again. Compared to before, this group of reporters was even more ferocious. They were just short of stabbing the word murderer on her forehead and dragging her out to be beheaded. This time, Shi Shang was not as good-tempered as before. He took out his sword and was about to start a massacre. If it weren't for a group of police officers quickly rushing out of the police station to separate the two sides, the headlines tomorrow would probably be, "The bankrupt CEO had a mental breakdown and went on a killing spree in front of the police station. F***CK, if you dare to show up in front of I again, I'll kill you." Shi Shang was blocked by several policemen. She pointed at the group of reporters who had been scared to death and threatened them. A policeman. Her presence was so weak. The reporters. So Lu Shengguo was really sick. If she was sick, why didn't she take her medicine? Why did she let him out? Shi Shang was sent back by a private car. The people at the police station said that they never wanted to see this lunatic again. Shi Shang, who was targeted by all the reporters, still could not escape the fate of being defamed. In the end, the internet not only said that she was a murderer, but also said that she had gone crazy. This angered Han Xiao half to death. These reporters were simply talking nonsense. How was her CEO Lu crazy? One night, when she saw her CEO fiddling with a camera in the dark, Han Xiao was a little uncertain. Her CEO Lu couldn't have really gone crazy, right? Han Xiao was so anxious that she did not sleep the whole night. As a result, when she woke up the next day, she saw a hot topic. It was a video taken in seconds. The background of the video was very familiar. Han Xiao looked at the background for a long time. When she recognized the background, she was frightened by a face that suddenly appeared and screamed, throwing away her phone. She looked at the phone on the ground in shock. After a long time, she got out of bed, opened the door, and ran to Shi Shang's room. CEO Lu, CEO Lu. Han Xiao knocked on the door and shouted anxiously. What are you doing? It's so early in the morning. Are you calling a ghost? Shi Shang opened the door. His hair was messy, his face was a little flushed, and his eyebrows were furrowed. He looked extremely impatient. Seeing Shi Shang standing in front of her, Han Xiao breathed a sigh of relief. You scared me to death. What nonsense are you talking about? I'm going to sleep. Shi Shang slammed the door shut. Han Xiao was hit in the face by the wind brought by the door. She stood there for a long time before walking back to her room. She picked up her phone and clicked on the video. She was not prepared before and was frightened by the sudden appearance of a bloody face. Looking at it now, she was not as scared as before. She did not see the end of the video. After the face, there was a sentence. Come on, if you don't accept it, destroy me on behalf of the moon. Idiots. Han Xiao. She wondered if her CEO had really gone crazy. How could he be so childish? The instant video had a big reaction on the internet. Those who thought that they were normal thought that Shi Shang was crazy and should be sent to psychiatric treatment. Those who were extreme in their words even directly told her to die. As for those who thought they were abnormal, they actually started to defend Shi Shang. This matter continued until the police held a press conference to announce the cause of Liang Qing's death and the murderer. The people who had helped Shi Shang to clean up the mess immediately became self-righteous. Were they slapped in the face? Did they bully the CEO of Wooly? How could the CEO of Wooly be a murderer? Those netizens who had been clamoring fiercely did not dare to make a sound at this time. They felt that it was all a joke. Because of the sufficient evidence, the case was quickly closed. This matter was considered to have come to an end. Shi Shang entered the mode of waiting to die and receiving deliveries again. Deliveries? Oh. There were always strange people who sent her things. At first, they were normal people, then they became the property management of Banyan residents and the security guards. Later on, they were crazy people who were passing by, little girls who had just finished school, delivery boys, and now they had all become deliveries. Shi Shang had always been resistant to things of unknown origin. Who knew if there was a bomb inside? It was better to be safe than sorry. Caution is the parent of safety. If she was not cautious, she would have capsized a few hundred years ago and been turned into ashes. This is obviously an urban harem novel. What the hell am I writing? What's going on with my Shang? I can't stop writing at all. I feel like I'm going to gain brainless fans times n cough. Writing a proper harem novel. I'm writing a proper harem novel. Yifeng. Hee, where's my play? Chapter 605. The next time they saw Yifeng was half a month later. Shi Shang took Han Xiao to a hot pot restaurant on a whim. As soon as they entered the restaurant, they saw Yifeng and Xiao Linglong sitting together in an ambiguous position. The two of them were eating hot pot like a high-end Western restaurant. As another suspect in Liang Qing's case, Yifeng used some unspoken rules to keep the news from spreading. Of course, Shi Shang thought it was because he was too awesome and attracted the attention of thousands of netizens. That was why Yifeng was not noticed. Liang Qing just died not long ago and he's already in the mood to cuddle with other women. Han Xiao, who was very hostile to Yifeng, said with disgust, "Chairman Liu, you were right to not want this gigolo. There's a saying in this world that, if you don't have intimate contact with women, you will die." Shi Shang answered Han Xiao seriously. Han Xiao. Chairman Liu was talking nonsense again. Shi Shang found a corner and sat down. "May I ask if the two ladies would like to have a mild or extra spicy hot pot?" The waiter asked dutifully. Shi Shang rolled up his sleeves proudly. "Hot pot, of course, extra spicy hot pot. I haven't eaten hot pot for a long time and I miss the taste." Shi Shang could eat spicy hot pot, but Han Xiao couldn't. She couldn't take a bite. Seeing Shi Shang eating so happily, she was too embarrassed to say anything. She could only endure it and eat a few bites carefully. Her forehead was full of cold sweat because of the spiciness. "I'm going to the toilet, don't eat my meat." Shi Shang suddenly stood up. Han Xiao nodded slightly. Chairman Liu could eat such a spicy hot pot without any change in expression. She was impressed. After Shi Shang left, Han Xiao naturally stopped eating. She was going to wait for her chairman to come back and pretend to eat some more. However, Shi Shang didn't come back. The waiter came first with a small hot pot stove. The soup inside was clear soup. The waiter directly put it next to Han Xiao and left with a smile. Han Xiao. Oh no, I feel like I've been flirted with by my chairman. Chairman Liu is so considerate. Shi Shang came out of the bathroom. The floor was a little slippery, probably because it had just been cleaned. He didn't step on the Shi Shang firmly and suddenly slipped forward. Just as they were about to bump into each other, Shi Shang suddenly propped himself up against the wall beside him, did a dashing side somersault, and landed on the clean ground beside him. "Mu bai, who was just about to reach out to receive her, was speechless. What happened to saving the damsel in distress? This girl didn't follow the script again. He retracted his hand and nodded slightly. Miss Liu, what a coincidence. Although the person opposite him didn't even look at him, he was a gentleman and couldn't lose his self-restraint. Shi Shang patted his chest. He was scared to death. Suddenly, he heard a familiar voice. Shi Shang raised his head and saw Mu Bai's face clearly. Then, he turned around and left at lightning speed. F***CK, I've seen a pervert. Mu Bai. Did he look that scary? He looked at the Shi Shang's back thoughtfully. After a while, he withdrew his gaze and looked at the ground. A few seconds later, he entered the men's room. Shi Shang returned to his seat and saw that Han Xiao had already started eating. He sat down and continued to eat. President Liu, thank you. Han Xiao's face was still red from the spicy food. Now that she said that, she looked a little shy and timid. Next time, you can tell me directly if you don't like it. I'm not an old pervert who will force you to eat the same food as me, Shi Shang said vaguely as he stuffed a piece of meat into his mouth. Cough cough. Han Xiao choked. President Liu, if you continue to be like this, I'm going to turn gay. After eating hot pot, Shi Shang asked the waiter to pay the bill. However, the waiter told him that the bill had already been paid. Shi Shang, not only did a pervert send I food out of nowhere, but he also paid the bill for her. This is going to cause trouble. Which one should I kill first? Brother Feng, my daddy asked you to come to my house. Can you come back with me? Xiao Linglong's sticky voice sounded. If she hadn't been so against Shi Shang before, Shi Shang would actually like Xiao Linglong. She was pure, cute, had a sweet voice, long legs, and knew how to act coquettishly. This was the kind of girl he liked. Unfortunately, this girl didn't like him. This was a bit awkward. I have something to do today. I'll go over tomorrow. You can go back first. Ah. Xiao Linglong was disappointed but didn't insist. Okay then, I'll call Brother Feng tomorrow. Shi Shang was standing at the counter. In most places, the counter was near the door. Therefore, when Yi Feng and Xiao Linglong came out, they bumped into Shi Shang. The funny thing was, before Yi Feng could argue with Shi Shang, a group of people suddenly rushed in from the door. They blocked Yi Feng and Xiao Linglong and started to mock them. Isn't this our Yi Feng, young Master Yi? Which family did you bring this little girl out to have fun? Aren't you very rich? Why did you bring this little girl to this kind of place? The leader was a young man who was about the same age as Yi Feng. Yi Feng bought the lucky bracelet last time. Now, he was so poor that he had to eat dirt. He also owed the system a lot of points. This little girl is so cute. Last time, who was it? Liang Qing, the female celebrity who died. The underling beside him reminded. Yes, it's that woman. Sasuke, that figure, that beauty, what a pity. Yi Feng, your luck with women is not bad. All of a sudden, Yi Feng seemed to have touched a nerve. He threw a punch at the young man. The young man was caught off guard and was forced to take a few steps back. The young man covered his cheek that was hit and spat out a mouthful of saliva. Beat him. Shi Shang and Han Xiao were standing very close to each other. If a group of people suddenly started fighting, it would be easy for them to get hurt. Shi Shang hurriedly moved Han Xiao outside. After walking out of the restaurant, Shi Shang calmly took out his phone and dialed Yao Yaoling. If you have any problems, look for the police. The police will protect you and you will have no worries for the rest of your life. Because of the Shi Shang's nonsense that someone had killed someone in public, people came quickly. A young policeman who had been tortured by the Shi Shang happened to be there. When he saw the psychopath standing outside, his legs went weak. Oh my God, this psychopath didn't get treated in the hospital but came here to cause trouble. You guys got here pretty quickly, ah. Shi Shang casually walked up to the police officer as the informant of the case. The young policeman swallowed hard and wanted to cry. You called the police and said someone had killed someone. How could we not come quickly? If you're sick, take medicine. Don't come and harm us. You'll be arrested if you make a false police report. Even if you're sick, you'll be locked up for electrotherapy. Ah. The restaurant was already under control. Suddenly, screams came from the crowd. Shi Shang and the young policeman looked at the restaurant at the same time. Xiao Linglong was dead. She died in the bathroom of the hot pot restaurant. Originally, fighting was not a big deal. The people eating in the restaurant didn't care. When someone went to the bathroom, he found Xiao Linglong lying on the ground. That was why he screamed and caused panic in the restaurant. The young policeman looked at Shi Shang with burning eyes. Shi Shang. What are you looking at? It wasn't I who did it. #hashtag today, I want cantaloupe votes #hashtag last day, I want monthly votes. Hashtag. Chapter 606. Shi Shang's alibi was sufficient. When she left the store, the surveillance camera showed that Xiao Linglong was still standing behind Yi Feng. Although her face was pale, she looked normal. Strangely, after Shi Shang left, the surveillance camera broke down. However, the surveillance camera outside clearly recorded that Shi Shang had been standing outside the store, and Han Xiao was a witness. Therefore, there was nothing suspicious about this matter except for the false police report that she made in advance. The police officers who arrived one after another paid full attention to Shi Shang. Was this psychopath possessed by the Grim Reaper? She really killed someone when she said so. Because the victim was the daughter of the famous jeweler Xiao Mao, Zhang Ju had to come personally. Of course, the main reason was that he heard that the psychopath, Shi Shang, was present. Miss Lu. Zhang Ju said helplessly. Shi Shang smiled. Long time no see, Zhang Ju. I don't want to meet a psychopath with violent tendencies. Ahem, long time no see. Miss Lu, are you here for dinner? Why else would I be here to kill someone? Zhang Ju. I'm going to call the mental hospital if you continue like this. Previously, they had asked someone to check if she was really mentally ill, but this girl's mind was clear. Except for a few scary words, she didn't do anything too out of line. They couldn't arrest her just because of her dangerous thoughts, could they? Because of this, the police station would probably be too busy to deal with it. Miss Lu, did you see anyone suspicious? Because no one was willing to record Shi Shang's statement, Zhang Ju had to do it himself. I think everyone is suspicious. Why did Miss Lu make a false police report that someone killed someone? That way you can come faster. I really want to arrest her. After Zhang Ju finished asking the questions, he heaved a sigh of relief and said something that had to be said. Miss Lu, you can go back first. If you think of anything, remember to call us. You don't have to come in person. Don't waste your precious time. I don't want to see her. I don't want to see her +1. I don't want to see her +10086. Shi Shang was collectively despised by the police. The media arrived quickly. When they saw that Shi Shang was in the police station, they couldn't stop imagining things. After the previous incident where Shi Shang threatened to chop someone up, the reporters did not dare to get too close. At that time, no one had noticed where she had taken out the sword. Later, when they went back and thought about it, they realized that she might have hidden it on her body. For example, that kind of soft sword could be wrapped around the waist. A lunatic who could hide a sword on her body was very dangerous. As Xiao Linglong was killed in a public place, the police could not cover it up at all, so they did not have much time to solve the case. However, all the surveillance cameras in the store that might have captured useful information had been destroyed, and the most suspicious people had perfect alibis. Needless to say, Shi Shang was a psychopath. Yi Feng was fighting at that time, and such a large group of people could prove it. Where did this murderer come from? Chief Zhang, Liang Qing and Xiao Linglong both have illicit relations with Yi Feng. This Yi Feng is quite capable. Zhang Ju flipped through the documents in silence. One was a popular screen goddess, the other was the apple of a famous jeweler's eye, and both of them were related to Yi Feng. This Yi Feng was quite strange. He used to be a poor boy, and it was said that he worked several jobs a day. Later on, he became rich and became a new rich person in the circle. Shi Sheng felt that he was quite unlucky. He finally went out for a meal, but he encountered a murder and his car broke down on the way back. President Liu, how do you think Xiao Linglong was killed? Han Xiao asked carefully. When they came out, Xiao Linglong was still standing behind Yi Feng. How long had it been? You want to know? You know. Han Xiao was surprised. She just wanted to discuss it with Shi Sheng. What don't I know? Shi Sheng laughed arrogantly. Then how did the murderer destroy the surveillance cameras in such a short time and kill Xiao Linglong in the bathroom? Han Xiao asked curiously. Shi Sheng held his chin and looked out of the car. The murderer only needed to destroy the surveillance cameras. Xiao Linglong went into the bathroom by herself. As for killing her, it was even easier. She was poisoned by a chemical mixture. When she came out of the bathroom, she slipped on the floor. At that time, there were many guests, so no one should be cleaning. But nothing happened at that time, so she didn't care. When Xiao Linglong was killed, she remembered this and the faint strange smell she smelled in the bathroom. Han Xiao was confused. What did he mean? Xiao Linglong went into the bathroom by herself? Why? When Yi Feng was beaten up, why did she go to the bathroom? How would I know why she went to the bathroom? She was not here to solve the case, she was here to eat. Shi Sheng suddenly opened the door and got out. President Liu, where are you going? Han Xiao called. Shi Sheng did not reply, so Han Xiao quickly got out of the car. Shi Sheng strode towards a black Bentley on the opposite side. She reached out to open the door, pulled out the person in the driver's seat, and peeked inside. The back of the car was empty. Shi Sheng pressed the driver against the door. Who told you to follow I? The driver trembled. No one told me to follow you. Shi Sheng raised his hand and was about to hit the driver. The driver immediately covered his head. I'm just here to deliver something. I don't know anything. The driver pulled a rose from the trunk. Shi Sheng. Retard. Shi Sheng grabbed the driver's collar and said in a gloomy tone, Tell Yi Jian, if he dares to play these tricks again, I will kill him. The driver continued to tremble. He didn't seem to have said anything. He definitely didn't say anything. Shi Sheng let go of the driver and patted him on the shoulder with a faint smile. Help me pass a message. If you have the ability, come and see me yourself. What's the point of hiding in the back like a coward? The driver only felt that the girl in front of him was scary. No matter how he interpreted that sentence, it was still scolding him. The driver was afraid that Shi Sheng would hit him, so he nodded. She was indeed someone that young master liked. She was so violent. He was scared. How was he going to live in the future? Han Xiao was stunned. She couldn't keep up with her CEO's thoughts. Who was Yi Jian? The person who had been delivering things to Shi Sheng for no reason? How did President Liu know? How hard could it be for Shi Sheng to find out the person behind this? It was easy for Shi Sheng to confirm the identity of the person who could drive the security of Banyan residence by following the internet and checking the person who appeared in the novel. Yi Jian. He was one of the villains in the novel. But he was a psychopath. It was said that he was temperamental and violent. What was more terrifying was that he had a special hobby. No one knew what kind of hobby it was. The plot didn't describe it in detail. As for why he was one of the villains, because the male lead had stepped on too many villains and all of them were very powerful. So Yi Jian could only get the title of one of the villains. He couldn't dominate the novel. December it was the last month of the year. So please vote. Chapter 607. Banyan Residence. Villa number 11. The LCD TV was broadcasting the news, and the content of the news was about Xiao Linglong's death. Young master. The man in a suit appeared out of nowhere and stood behind the sofa. He bowed respectfully to the sofa. A furry head slowly rose from the sofa, followed by a neck and then a face. Young master. The driver from before came forward, trembling. Miss Lu asked me to pass you a message. The driver was afraid that he would be strangled to death by his young master after he said that sentence. So, to seek a sense of security, the driver leaned towards the man in the suit and quickly repeated Shi Shang's words. The news in the living room suddenly stopped and the whole place was silent. The driver's heart was beating like thunder. Was the young master going to strangle him? The driver saw Yi Jian stand up from the sofa, walk around the sofa and stand in front of him. The driver's legs were already trembling. The young master begged for mercy. The slender hand reached out towards him, getting closer and closer. The driver's pupils constricted and he tried to breathe in fresh air, but the air could not enter his lungs. The hand brushed past his neck and finally landed on his shoulder. The hand patted him gently. Go get your reward. The driver only seemed to be able to breathe after Yi Jian left the villa. His body went limp on the ground. He was scared to death. When Shi Shang returned to the villa, she saw the man outside. He was quietly leaning against the carved iron door with his slender legs crossed. The sunlight was just right. It shone through the leaves and branches, scattering into mottled light and shadows, projecting on his body. Shi Shang knew at first glance that this person was not Feng Ci, so she went over with her sword. That aggressive manner was simply as if he was here to seek revenge. Yi Jian wanted to act cool, but he was frightened by Anne's aggressive manner and immediately knelt down. Lu Shengge, let's talk nicely. He reached out his hand and signaled Shi Shang to stop. Shi Shang's iron sword hit the iron door. Clang! The sound echoed far away, accompanied by her voice. What do I have to talk to you about? Who the hell are you? Yi Jian looked at the shiny iron sword beside him and smiled. You know who I am. It's pointless to ask such a question. A gentle breeze blew through his hair, and mottled specks of light flashed across his clear eyes like flickering shadows. Shi Shang's iron sword approached Yi Jian. I'm Yi Jian. Yi as in leaves and Jian as in Shi Jian. Yi Jian's handsomeness didn't last more than 3 seconds. Shi Shang pressed his iron sword against Yi Jian and asked fiercely, Why did you give me this? I've taken a liking to you. Yi Jian pulled a long face. You fit the criteria of my fiancé very well. You're not rich, you're pretty, and you have a good figure. No money. Looks. Good figure? Asterisk flips table asterisk what the hell is this? Who told you I don't have money? I'm about to lose control of the primordial power in my body. Yi Jian could only feel a gust of cold air approaching him. The sunlight reflected from the iron sword into his eyes. It was as if the cold air had seeped into his internal organs. The iron sword slashed through the air, and the whistling sound was magnified countless times. Yi Jian didn't expect that she would really dare to make a move. Well, almost everyone didn't think of this problem. Yi Jian dodged backward at the last moment. Although he was fast enough, his clothes were still cut by the iron sword. The cloth fluttered in the air and fell down. The sharp iron sword suddenly pierced through it and went straight for Yi Jian. Yi Jian stepped back awkwardly. He grabbed the trunk beside him and quickly climbed up. With a whoosh, the lush green leaves around him were now falling down from the sky. The air was filled with killing intent, and it seemed like he would be crushed into pieces with just a single step. Yi Jian stood on the tree trunk without any leaves. His posture was a bit desolate. Lu Shengge, I'll be back. Yi Jian suddenly shouted out a classic line. He quickly jumped down from the tree trunk and ran out of the area. Don't run if you dare. Do you think I'm retarded if I don't run? Yi Jian took the time to reply. Come and chase me if you dare. King retarded. Shi Shang suddenly raised his hand and swung his sword. It was like a tornado. The fallen leaves were swept up into the air and rushed towards Yi Jian. Yi Jian's expression changed slightly. He quickly ran to the side. When he ran past a corner, the tornado of fallen leaves suddenly lost its power. The fallen leaves scattered all over the ground. Yi Jian let out a sigh of relief. It seemed like there was a distance. This Lu Shengge was hard to deal with. The key was her sword, Yi Jian narrowed his eyes and walked towards another path. Soon, he disappeared into the shadows of the tree trunk. When the staff saw the bare branches, they were all confused. The leaves were all there. Why were the leaves of this tree missing? This tree was right outside Shi Shang's house. Of course, they had to ask. Then they got the following answer: I don't know. Why would I stare at the tree all day? Maybe it felt that its clothes weren't good enough and wanted to change. Asterisk flips table asterisk. Do you think it's a human? Change. How? It's all F asterisk king bold. Then they heard Shi Shang say slowly, maybe it likes to run around naked. All the staff. Hey, is this why? I want to call the police. There's a crazy person here. She said a tree likes to run around naked. The staff was even more dumbfounded when they discovered that the ground was covered with what seemed to be the leaves of this big tree tens of meters away. Supernatural event. That was scary. The staff quickly checked the surveillance footage. However, Yi Jian had already deleted it. This undoubtedly made the staff even more sure that this was a supernatural event. Later on, the tree kept running around naked. It didn't die, but it didn't grow leaves either. All the experts came to check, but they couldn't find anything. After this tree was reported, it became a wonder of the Bai Nian residents. Later on, it became a mystery of the Bai Nian residents. Of course, this was in the future. Xiao Linglong's case couldn't find a suspect. The suspects that the police investigated all had alibis. Although the police tried very hard, they still couldn't find anything. This became an unsolved case. Xiao Mao lost his beloved daughter. Moreover, she went out with Yi Feng. Plus, Yi Feng and Liang Qing's ambiguous relationship made Xiao Mao dislike Yi Feng. Yi Feng and Xiao Mao's cooperation broke down. Yi Feng's mission continued to fail. Mission failed 5 times. The kidnapper will receive severe punishment. The kidnapper will also lose the right to bind. Please remember this. On the phone screen, the bold red reminder was particularly eye-catching. The veins on Yi Feng's forehead popped out. The hand that was holding the phone tightened. He had already failed 3 missions. If he failed 2 more times, he would have to receive some kind of severe punishment. No. He couldn't fail again. The 3 failures gave Yi Feng a lot of pressure, and the notification from the software was more like a huge diamond, pressing down on Yi Feng, making him unable to breathe. However, it also made him unwilling to give up this diamond that could bring him endless wealth. Yi Feng returned to the homepage. He looked at the only mission on it and clicked accept. Asterisk the self-cultivation of a tycoon ha 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 ha. Chapter 608. Shi Shang didn't know how she attracted Yi Jian, the psychopath. Yi Jian kept flirting with her after he was chopped last time. But when he saw that Shi Shang was about to take out his sword, he immediately ran away. Shi Shang was so angry that he scratched the wall. If this was in ancient times, who knows how many times you would have died. Compared to Yi Jian, Shi Shang was more reluctant to see Mu Bai, but he couldn't hide from him. Mu Bai came to visit. Shi Shang felt that if he locked him outside, it would show that he was afraid of him, so Shi Shang let Mu Bai in. Shut the door and beat the pervert. There are always idiots who want to harm me. Does the host have paranoia? Master, come back quickly, the host's condition is getting worse. It's going to become a useless system. Miss Lu, you seem to be afraid of me? Mu Bai took a sip of tea elegantly and asked slowly. Shi Shang sat opposite him, crossed his arms and stared at Mu Bai arrogantly. Afraid of you? Who do you think you are? She had checked Mu Bai's information. From the information, this man was no doubt the pride of the heavens. No matter what he did, he was better than others. He was like the illegitimate child of the heavens. But he wasn't a character in the plot. Such a powerful character, even if he wasn't Yi Feng's stepping stone, he must be Yi Feng's friend. But the plot didn't even mention Mu Bai's name. Mu Bai put down the teacup and said in a low voice, "Then why is it that Miss Lu is unhappy every time you see me? Why should I be happy when I see you? Shi Shang suddenly smiled maliciously. The malice in that smile was so obvious that Mu Bai couldn't help but notice it. He heard her say in a strange tone, "Maybe I'll be happier if you strip naked. It would be more convenient to chop him." Mu Bai. The two looked at each other silently. Their eyes met in the air, as if it could ignite layers of sparks. Shi Shang was too calm. The smile on her face made Mu Bai very uncomfortable. He suddenly had the idea of running away. As soon as this thought popped up in his mind, Mu Bai extinguished it. He took the initiative to avert his gaze and placed a gilded invitation card in front of Shi Shang. "Miss Lu, this is a large auction that will be held in the near future. I believe you will be interested." Shi Shang glanced at him and bent down to press on the corner of the invitation. He slid the invitation through the transparent glass to his front and flipped open the invitation with his fingers. "A secret that time cannot bury. The theme of the auction." Shi Shang retracted his hand. "I'm a bankrupt CEO now. What's wrong with you sending me an invitation?" The corners of Mu Bai's mouth curled up a little. His entire aura seemed to have changed. He slowly said, "Miss Lu, perhaps there's something you want in here?" "Do you know what I want?" She didn't want anything, only things that belonged to her. "Whether I know or not, Miss Lu will know when you get there." Mu Bai stood up and bowed slightly. "Goodbye." Shi Shang moved his fingers and the air was distorted for a moment. Mu Bai's figure suddenly paused. He turned his head and asked, "Miss Lu, what do you think of Xiao Linglong's case?" "It's none of my business." "Miss Lu, didn't you find it strange when you slipped in front of the toilet?" Mu Bai seemed to be trying to lead Shi Shang to something. "It's none of your business." Mu Bai's expression changed slightly. He changed the topic. "The tree outside Miss Lu's door has a very unique design." Shi Shang smiled and said, "If Mr. Mu likes it, I can give you a unique design for free." Mu Bai. He opened the door and walked out. The iron sword only appeared in Shi Shang's hand after Mu Bai's figure disappeared. As soon as Mu Bai left, Yi Jian parked his car in front of Shi Shang's house and honked furiously to create a lot of noise. If it weren't for the fact that the nearby villa was very far away, Yi Jian would definitely be hung up and beaten. Shi Shang went out with the sword. Han Xiao happened to be coming back from outside and quickly went around Yi Jian's car. Han Xiao blocked Shi Shang's way. "Miss Lu, have you seen the news?" "What news?" "Xiao Linglong's nanny was packing her things today and somehow found the bracelet, lucky." "Lucky?" Previously, Liang Qing was also killed after showing off the bracelet, lucky. Now, Xiao Linglong is the same. The media is reporting that there's more to Liang Qing's case. They're asking for a retrial to give Liang Qing justice. "What does this have to do with me?" Shi Shang asked indifferently. "Because Miss Lu is now involved in another scandal." Yi Jian got out of the car and followed Han Xiao in. "Miss Lu, do you need a bodyguard?" "I need fertilizer." Shi Shang grinned and revealed a sinister smile. Yi Jian shuddered and goosebumps covered his entire body. However, he still had an intoxicating smile on his face. "I'm willing to risk my life for Miss Lu. However, Miss Lu, can you allow me to take care of my parents?" "Get lost." "Miss Lu, you're so fierce. If you can't get married in the future, you can consider me." Yi Jian started to step back. "This woman is going crazy. Can't get married. I need to get married. This idiot." Yi Jian quickly returned to the car. After getting in, he got out and placed an invitation card beside the metal gate. "Miss Lu, there's something good this time. If you need a car to pick you up, I'm always available." "President Lu. This Mr. Yi?" Han Xiao scratched her head in confusion. He didn't have much interaction with President Lu before. Why did he suddenly pester President Lu? She suddenly held her face and said in surprise, "President Lu, he doesn't really like you, does he?" "Why do you think he likes me?" Shi Shang looked at Han Xiao. She didn't see any liking from Yi Jian. A person's liking wasn't only shown on the outside. If he doesn't like you, why does he always give you things? And flirting with you all the time? Maybe he's an idiot. Shi Shang's eyes darkened. What did you just say? Han Xiao remembered what she wanted to tell Shi Shang and instantly forgot about Yi Jian. The bracelet Lucky had appeared beside the two victims. Although Liang Qing said it was fake, the netizens found out that Liang Qing didn't receive any gifts from her fans during that period of time. Plus, the Weibo post that Liang Qing deleted was even more suspicious. Later, some experts compared the photos that Liang Qing had not deleted on Weibo with the real photo of Lucky. They concluded that the bracelet in Liang Qing's photo was real. Xiao Linglong didn't need to say anything. The Xiao family was in the jewelry business. If they didn't have good eyesight, there was no need for them to be in the jewelry business. So now the two victims were related to the bracelet. Could Lucky really bring lucky? This question became the main concern of the netizens. Asterisk Yi Jian, Miss Lu, do you need a boyfriend? Shi Shang, I need a driver. Yi Jian, old driver. Shi Shang, little fairy, old driver, help me. I want to ask for a ticket. Chapter 609. The consequence of this incident was that Shi Shang was involved again. Not only was she a suspect in Liang Qing's case, but she had also appeared at the scene of Xiao Linglong's death. The netizens thought it was impossible for such a coincidence. She was a suspect in Liang Qing, and she was at the scene of Xiao Linglong's death. This was definitely premeditated. Xiao Linglong didn't have many fans, but she had the Xiao family behind her, so Shi Shang, the bankrupt CEO, was in a bad situation. Of course, this was in the eyes of outsiders. In fact, Shi Shang was living a carefree life. Are you really not angry, Miss Lu? The netizens were slandering Miss Lu. Liang Qing's murderer had been caught, and Miss Lu had an alibi for Xiao Linglong's case, but these netizens were still slandering her. You'll get older if you're angry. Shi Shang pointed at the corner of Han Zhao's eyes. Look at the wrinkles. Miss Lu. She wasn't in the mood to care about wrinkles. Their mouths and hands are on their bodies. I can't chop them off, right? Shi Shang couldn't help rolling his eyes. Do you want me to dominate the prison? I'll definitely be the flower of the prison. Han Xiao was speechless. You're still in the mood to joke at this time. Miss Lu, you win. It was impossible to be the flower of the prison. It was possible to be the flower of the prison. As a bankrupt CEO and a lunatic who was suspected of being a murderer, Shi Shang naturally received a lot of scrutiny and suspicion for attending such a high-end auction. Mu Bai saw Shi Shang first, and he walked straight to him. Miss Lu, you're here. I don't know you well. Shi Shang walked around him. Mu Bai was speechless. After a while he said, Miss Lu, you're not familiar with this place. Why don't I show you the way? I'll take care of Shunga. You don't have to trouble yourself, Mr. Mu. A voice suddenly interrupted. Yi Jian walked to Shi Shang and smiled at Shi Shang. Why didn't Shunga wait for me? There are so many people here. I'll be worried if you get lost. Shi Shang put on a fake smile and took a step back. Do I know you well? Yi Jian's smile froze. He blinked hard at Shi Shang. Give me some face. One was a lunatic, the other a pervert. Shi Shang did not want to have anything to do with them at all, so when Yi Jian desperately asked her to give him some face, she turned around and left. The two men were left staring at each other. Don't even think about it. Don't even think about it. The two of them spoke almost at the same time. Then, the two of them looked at each other for 3 seconds before turning around at the same time and leaving. Shi Shang took the invitation and entered the auction venue. The lighting inside was a little dim, and many seats were already occupied. Shi Shang found his seat and sat down, only to find that the person sitting next to him was Chief Zhang. Zhang Ju. Why did he have to meet this lunatic? Chief Zhang, are you investigating the case? Shi Shang sat down and crossed her legs. The dim light outlined the curves of her chest, making her look very attractive. Why can't I attend the auction? Director Zhang glared at Shi Sheng. You don't have money. Shi Sheng hit the nail on the head. You don't have money either. Director Zhang was not convinced. This lunatic was already bankrupt. How could she say that others were poor? How do you know I don't have money? Shi Sheng retorted. If you have money, will you go bankrupt? Shi Sheng's eyebrows were full of arrogance. I wanted to go bankrupt. So it went bankrupt. Director Zhang. Your parents will jump up and beat you to death if they know. No, she actually said that she wanted it to go bankrupt. Did she think that it was a shop that could be closed at will? Director Zhang felt that he was going to have a heart attack again. Nothing good happened every time he met this lunatic. Director Zhang wished that he could stay 100 meters away from Shi Sheng, but this seat could not be swapped, and his seat could not be swapped either. You still dare to come out, you're quite brave. Director Zhang changed the topic abruptly. It's all because of your incompetence. Director Zhang. You might as well not have changed the topic. Director Zhang decided to be a quiet director and not talk nonsense with this lunatic. Fortunately, the auction started not long after. Mu Bai and Yi Jian sat in the front seats, and there was an empty seat next to them. They looked at each other at the same time and saw the empty seat. A question flashed through their minds at the same time. Where did she get the invitation? Where did Shi Sheng get the invitation? As the bankrupt CEO, she definitely could not get it. But as the seller, of course she could get an invitation. The things in her space were all rare treasures. It was easy for her to get an invitation. Yi Feng came in at the end of the auction, with a woman beside him. Shi Sheng searched through all of Yi Feng's women and found that none of them matched. Yi Feng's new woman? Awesome male lead. In such a short time, he managed to get such a woman. It seemed that she was not simple. Shi Sheng moved closer to Director Zhang. Is this all you have? Director Zhang's heart skipped a beat. He gave Shi Sheng a warning glare and looked around. Miss Liu, don't talk nonsense. What's there to be afraid of? Shi Sheng said indifferently. Anyway, anyone with eyes can see it. Puff. Director Zhang glared at Shi Sheng. Could he hit Yao Yao Ling? Hurry up and drag this psychopath away. No, he was Yao Yao Ling. What do you mean, Miss Liu? Director Zhang resisted the urge to jump up and hit Shi Sheng and asked shamelessly. They thought that they had disguised themselves well. How could this psychopath expose them so easily? Do you know what kind of people are here today? Shi Sheng was bored, so he decided to argue with Director Zhang. Director Zhang nodded. Of course he knew. Otherwise, why would the criminal police be here? So you think you can blend into this group of people without being noticed? They were not in the same class. In an event full of high-end goods, these low-paid criminal police always felt out of place. Zhang Ju. Was she implying that he had no money in a roundabout way? So angry. Director Zhang cursed her in his heart. After poking her a few times, he gritted his teeth and asked, Miss Liu, what do you think? No. Shi Sheng paused. Even if I did, I wouldn't tell you. Director Zhang was about to go crazy with anger. Shi Sheng suddenly laughed maliciously and pointed to a person on Director Zhang's left. That person disguised himself well. He's a nouveau riche. Anyway, it's understandable that he doesn't know the rules. Is that set of equipment sponsored by the auction? His disguise is not bad. You can still see through him. He keeps peeking at you. Unless you think he has a crush on you. Shi Sheng spread his hands and sat up straight. At this moment, the auctioneer had already entered the auction stage. Director Zhang was fuming, but he could not say anything. He focused all his attention on the surroundings. The items being auctioned today were priceless. Although they only had a few people inside, the crowd outside was already impenetrable. November 29, 2016 Book Review Baby. Shallow Dream Moshi. November 30, 2016 Book Review Baby. And Who? There are monthly votes today. Please, please, please. Please, monthly votes. Please, monthly votes. Please, votes. Chapter 610. Today's auction was all for the angel's heart. Say, this thing can bring curses, but these idiots are still willing to spend money on it. Are they retarded? Shishang and Zhongju were chatting. Zhongju didn't feel like chatting. He was working. He was a dedicated person. How could he chat casually during working hours? He could only complain in his heart. You said they were retarded, but you still asked me if I was retarded. Did you forget to take your medicine? Shishang said casually, stop looking. According to the law, even if someone really comes, you won't be able to stop them. What law? Zhongju asked. Why couldn't they stop them? They were the police. How could this idiot look down on them? Shishang gave Zhongju a serious answer, the law of novels. The male lead was here. If someone really came to snatch the item, it would have nothing to do with the police. The male lead would be the winner. Zhongju almost vomited blood. Was she really not here to cause trouble? The first few auctions went smoothly until the final auction, the Heart of Angel. When the Heart of Angel was pushed out, Shishang felt a strange power. The spirit chi in this world was very weak. However, when the angel's heart appeared, Shishang felt that the spirit chi was even weaker. In the blink of an eye, there was no spirit chi in the entire space. All the spirit chi escaped from the auction house. It wasn't being absorbed. It was escaping. The spirit chi was afraid of the angel's heart. What was it made of? How could it be so powerful? After the auctioneer finished explaining a lot of useless information, he opened the cover. The item inside was immediately presented to everyone. Its color was brighter than Lucky's. It looked like a living heart. It was as if it could beat in the next second. Shishang couldn't refute that the angel's heart was exquisitely made. However, Shishang didn't like the aura it emitted. It wasn't dark or evil. It was a kind of bewitchment. It bewitched people to get it and own it. Shishang suddenly curled his lips in disdain. I guess the sculptor fed it with blood. Shishang communicated with the system in his mind. Yes. Humph, he's courting death. He's long dead. The system reminded Shishang. That's why he left the mess to his descendants. Shishang continued to snort. I'm not going to clean up his mess. It's not easy to deal with him. This was not a diamond at all. It was a type of jade. In the ancient records of her world, this type of jade was called blood jade. If one fed it with blood, it could develop intelligence and be used to control it. The best blood jade was translucent. The bigger the blood jade, the stronger the spiritual intelligence it developed. However, if the spiritual intelligence that was born was not properly guided, it would become an evil spirit that fed on desires. In order to obtain more desires, it would constantly stimulate the desires in the bottom of the human's heart to strengthen itself. It was said that evil spirits could leave the blood jade and possess a physical body after consuming a certain amount of desire. He wanted her to deal with this kind of thing? What a joke. It would take a lot of effort but not a lot of benefits, and he refused with his strength. Furthermore, host, only you can complete this mission. Bullshit, where did you put the male lead? This kind of setting was obviously a cheat for the male lead. Even if you say that I can save the Milky Way, I will not do this mission. Host, can you not be so capricious? I'm giving you points. You don't even want to earn points. It's too troublesome. You can just slash it with your sword. What's so troublesome about it? It's tiring to wield a sword. Speechless. Such a capricious host was the only one in the world. If Shishang said he would not do it, then he would definitely not do it. Therefore, during the bidding for the angel's heart, he watched coldly from the sidelines. Compared to the lucky bracelet, the base price of the angel's heart was in the tens. The rich people just watched and did not dare to make a sound. Only the rich people raised their signs. Zhongju's expression was a little strange, probably because he had never seen such a cruel scene. Miss Liu, Are you not going to participate in the bidding? Zhongju suddenly turned his head and asked Shi Sheng. Shi Sheng shrugged. I don't have money. Zhongju. This capricious psychopath. Bang. The lights in the hall suddenly went out. The whole auction hall was plunged into darkness. The panicked voices of the crowd filled the hall. Don't panic. Sit where you are and don't move. Zhongju shouted, but no one listened to him. There were chaotic footsteps and screams all around. The crowd rushed out of the hall in panic. Shi Shang quietly stood at the edge of the wall to prevent himself from being hurt by the panicked people. The lights came back on in 2 minutes. The scene was very chaotic. Shi Shang saw Mu Bai and Yi Jian first. Both of them were standing not far from where she was sitting before. When the lights came back on, Yi Jian was the first to look around. When he saw Shi Shang leaning against the wall, he rushed towards her. Lu Shengge, are you okay? I'm not dead. Yi Jian. Who asked if you were dead? Mu Bai only looked at her from afar. He did not come over. Ah. Suddenly, someone screamed and pointed at the auction stage. The angel's heart is gone. The auctioneer and 2 MCs were lying on the ground. No one knew if they were dead or unconscious. The angel's heart, on the auction stage, was nowhere to be seen. Zhongju looked at Shi Shang, who was leaning against the wall with a complicated expression. This psychopath's words came true. After the investigation, the police found that the thief had sneaked in through the MCs. As for whether he had an accomplice, it was still unknown. The MCs had been working here for many years. They knew each other very well, but they were still caught off guard. Everyone at the auction had to give a statement. Yi Jian was forced to separate from Shi Sheng. Who would give the statement to Shi Sheng became a problem. In the end, Zhongju was the one to do it. After all, he was the closest to her just now. Although her statement would not be of any use. Miss Lu, did you see anything when the lights were turned off? Shi Sheng glanced at Zhongju. Just when Zhongju thought that she was going to argue with him, she suddenly said something that shocked Zhongju. I know who has the angel's heart. Do you want to know? Zhongju looked serious. Miss Lu, this is not a joke. Forget it if you don't believe me. Shi Shang spread his hands and did not intend to say anything else. Say it. Zhongju gritted his teeth. I don't want to say it. I wanted to say it, but you didn't want to listen. Now that you want to hear it, I have to say it. I don't want to. This was the only thing missing from Shi Shang's face. Zhongju almost jumped in anger. Do you have any tranquilizers? Give him a shot. Bah. Give this psychopath a shot. In the end, Zhongju disregarded his dignity and pestered Shi Shang for a long time before he finally got a name out of her. Are you sure? Zhongju looked serious. If you talk nonsense, I will definitely send you to the mental hospital. Shi Shang smiled brightly. Look at what you're saying, Zhongju. You said that I'm crazy. Of course you can't believe what I say, unless you're crazy too. *CKU, you're the crazy one. Zhongju. *# today's taro flavored ticket # daily jam hahaha today's Q&A. What's the name of the director of the Rose Wedding Special Task Force? Just reply below this chapter. The first answer has to be correct. Chapter 6:11. Zhongju felt that he might really be sick. He actually believed the words of a psychopath. It was mainly because she was too sure of herself. That serious expression made it easy for people to believe that she was telling the truth. The facts proved that she was telling the truth. I don't know why it's on me. Yi Feng tried his best to explain. How can you arrest people so casually? Mr. Yi, the evidence is conclusive. If you have anything to say, save it for the police station. The police officer quickly handcuffed Yi Feng. Yi Feng was anxious, but no matter what he said, he couldn't change the fact that the angel's heart was on him. Shi Sheng happened to pass by Yi Feng. She paused. Mr. Yi, don't be so blind when you're looking for a woman. This sentence was inexplicable. Yifeng thought about it and understood the key point. His face suddenly turned pale. He was used by someone. Lu Shenggu. Yifeng roared. Are you mocking me? Yeah, I'm mocking you. Shi Shang nodded. She didn't add insult to injury when the male lead was in trouble. Was she stupid? Lu Shenggu, don't be so happy. I'll be fine. This has nothing to do with me. Yifeng calmed down. He didn't know who that woman was. Even if the angel's heart was on him, it couldn't prove that he stole it. It's okay. Come out and I'll get you in. The smile on her face was so bright, but Yifeng couldn't feel the slightest bit of warmth. Facing her pair of dark eyes, Yifeng always felt like he was standing at the edge of a cliff, the biting cold wind blowing past his body, swaying and about to fall into the abyss. Yifeng swallowed hard, his voice was hoarse. Do you hate me that much? Shi Shang leaned closer to Yifeng and said in a cold tone, The one who hates you is Lu Shenggu. And I am just the person who avenged Lu Shenggu. So, I don't hate you. I just want to kill you. Shi Sheng deliberately dragged the word, just. It was like a sharp thorn that pierced into Yifeng's heart. His eyes widened and his mind suddenly became clear. You're not Lu Shenggu. Lu Shenggu liked him so much, how could she do this to him? Why didn't he think of this before? Miss Lu. The police officer saw that Yifeng was agitated and immediately stepped forward. Please don't talk to the suspect casually. What if the suspect is provoked? She is not Lu Shenggu. Yifeng pointed at Shi Shang with both hands and said to the police officer who came over, She is not Lu Shenggu. The police officer looked at Shi Shang silently. What did you do with him in such a short period of time? He was so agitated. The police ignored Yifeng's yelling and hurriedly took him away. What did he mean by that? Yi Jian popped out of nowhere. You're not Lu Shenggu? Then who are you? Shi Shang turned around and smiled. I'm God. Are you crazy? Lu Shenggu, wait for me. Yi Jian caught up with Shi Shang in a few steps. Lu Shenggu, are you really not going to consider being my fiancé? Gods and mortals cannot fall in love. It's okay. I'm actually a god too. I just didn't have the time to tell you. I like mortals. I can descend to the mortal world for you. Everyone. Which mental hospital released these two idiots? Hurry up and drag them back. After leaving the auction, Yi Jian followed Shi Shang step by step and discussed whether gods and mortals could fall in love. Shi Shang walked to his car and Yi Jian followed him. Shi Shang suddenly grabbed Yi Jian's collar and pushed him against the car window. Yi Jian's beautiful face was infinitely enlarged in his eyes. Lu Shenggu, let's talk. Yi Jian had no way out. He could only look at her stiffly. What do you want? Shi Shang gritted his teeth and asked. I'm pursuing you. Yi Jian said quickly, Can't you see? Shi Shang's fingers squeezed Yi Jian's neck and tightened slightly. I'll give you one more chance. I really just want to pursue you. Yi Jian felt that in front of this woman, he would be strangled to death if he even spoke loudly. Shi Shang nodded. His expression suddenly became gloomy. He opened the car door and threw Yi Jian in. Yi Jian. What are you doing? Shi Shang quickly got into the car and stepped on the accelerator in front of Yi Jian's dumbfounded gaze. Yi Jian did not wear a seatbelt. Due to the tilting of the car, his head hit the car window. Bang! He saw stars. Without a safety belt, Yi Jian experienced the passion and speed of the ride. The car's speed was touching. Shi Shang sped the car and brought Yi Jian to the foot of a mountain. She carried him and walked up. Yi Jian's stomach was churning. Lu Shenggu. Ugh. Where are you taking me? They were in the middle of nowhere. She was not going to kill him, was she? Kill him. Shi Shang's voice overlapped with Yi Jian's thoughts. Yi Jian subconsciously hugged a tree next to him. Lu Shenggu, I was just pursuing you and you want to kill me? Aren't you too cold-blooded? Shouldn't a normal person's reaction be to kill someone? Yes, I know I'm cold-blooded. Shi Shang pried Yi Jian's hand away without changing his expression. I don't need you to remind me. Yi Jian used a lot of strength, but Shi Shang still pried him away and dragged him up the mountain. At the top of the mountain, Shi Shang pushed Yi Jian to the edge of a cliff. So, do you want to tell me why you were pursuing me? Will you not kill me if I tell you? Yi Jian looked behind him and his heart raced. Depends on my mood. Yi Jian. So why did he have to deal with such a difficult woman? Yi Jian raised his head and met Shi Shang's gaze. Are you really not Lu Shenggu? The Lu Shenggu he knew was not so tough. Does it matter? Shi Shang's eyes curved. Or, is the person you're pursuing actually Lu Shenggu from the original plot? Yi Jian narrowed his eyes and looked Shi Shang up and down for a moment. You're a mission enforcer too? So that's it. Shi Shang showed a look of understanding. Yi Jian was a little confused. Didn't they say that there was only one mission enforcer in each plot? Why would he meet other mission enforcers? There were other mission enforcers. So he really wasn't the only one. Oh my God, my fellow townsmen, I'm so excited. Your mission is to pursue Lu Shenggu? Shi Shang looked at Yi Jian from head to toe a few times. Seeing that his fellow townsman was so excited, Yi Jian quickly nodded. His mission was very simple. It was to pursue those 10,000-year-old female supporting characters and change their endings so that they could live happily ever after. What's your mission? Yi Jian asked with a burning gaze. Kill the male and female protagonists. Yi Jian. The system told him that, if an external force killed the male and female protagonists, the world would collapse. Request votes. Request votes. Request votes. Acting cute. Chapter 612. Shi Shang thought that Yi Jian came from the same world as her, but after communicating with Yi Jian, she realized that Yi Jian was not from her world at all. So Yi Jian should still exist in the storyline? System, explain. I don't really want to explain. Host, you should know some doujinshi strategy novels. Yi Jian used this storyline to woo Lu Shenggu and change her ending. So you're saying that the storyline I'm experiencing now is actually a storyline with Yi Jian as the main character? You can understand it that way. Oh. So Mu Bai is Yi Jian's lover? Host, what are you thinking about? Aren't all doujinshi strategy novels like this? So should I kill Yi Jian now? Who told you that this is a doujinshi strategy novel? Yi Feng is the luckiest one here. Don't kill the innocent. Weird. There's something wrong with this sentence. Seeing that Yi Jian didn't have any bad intentions towards Lu Shenggu, Shi Shang magnanimously didn't kill him. It was Yi Jian who begged you out of fear and you let him go because you were in a good mood. Yi Jian. He didn't really want to talk. It wasn't easy for him to obtain a high and mighty status. In the end, he didn't even have the chance to act cool before he was crushed into dregs. How did you know that the angel's heart was with Yi Feng? Yi Jian thought of something important. Shi Shang gave him a meaningful smile. How did you know that I said it? Ah. Yi Jian's eyes darted around. As a mission target, of course I'm paying attention to you all the time. The woman's smile was so scary. She looked like a psychopathic murderer who was about to cut up a corpse. Although Yi Jian already knew that Shi Shang was a mission enforcer, he also realized that this mission enforcer was obviously not a newbie. As a nobody, he had to suck up to an experienced one. I just said it casually. Shi Shang said slowly. Just said it casually and you got it right? Yi Jian was surprised. He was indeed an experienced one. Shi Shang said mysteriously, maybe I have the ability to predict the future. What's there to guess about the storyline? The woman who followed Yi Feng in, indeed looked like a fair, rich, and beautiful woman, but her eyes were too alert. From the moment she entered the venue, she quickly sized up the venue and looked at the position of the plain-clothed police several times. If Shi Shang could not tell, she would be too ashamed to say that she was invincible. In the plot, Yi Feng had a woman who was an assassin, but this assassin was also a godly thief. Looking at them today, Yi Feng should have just met this assassin not long ago. According to the normal course of events, Yi Feng should have safely left with the heart of angel and taken it for himself. When the assassin came looking for him, he did this to her, and then that to her. The assassin immediately changed sides and became Yi Feng's woman. But now that Yi Feng was caught, wouldn't the assassin tear Yi Feng apart? Just thinking about it made him quite excited. Shi Shang's exaggerated expression made Yi Jian realize that she was fooling him. Shi Shang got up and walked down the mountain. Yi Jian quickly followed him. "What's your level? What's your name? Do you remember what you used to do before you did the mission?" Yi Jian's questions came one after another. He used to be a lofty psychopath, but now he became a talkative psychopath. "Yi Jian, I'm so excited to see a fellow villager. That Mu Bai, Lu Shengguo, be careful. I think there's something wrong with him," Yi Jian suddenly said. At first, Yi Jian was about to say something, but Shi Shang interrupted him. "What's wrong?" Of course there was something wrong with that psychopath. "I don't know, but I think he's quite weird." Yi Jian was in a dilemma. When he saw Mu Bai, he wanted to argue with him. Usually, the people that he wanted to argue with were not good people. "He's not your lover? Lover? What nonsense are you talking about? I'm straight, okay? Perfectly straight." Yi Jian was furious. Usually, people who say they're straight will soon find out that they're gay. Shi Shang looked at Yi Jian's lower body with evil intentions. "You can try it with that psychopath, who knows, maybe you are." Hashtag on the correct direction of Tanmei 1 hashtag, Lu Shenggu. I'm going to get angry. Even if you're from the same hometown, you can't talk nonsense. I'm a straight man. I can push you down even if you want to go to heaven. Yi Jian. This mission can't be done. Shi Shang went down the mountain, got into the car and started it. His actions were smooth and fluid. "Hey, Lu Shenggu, let me get in the car." Yi Jian tried to open the car door, but found that he couldn't open it. Shi Shang rolled down the car window and waved at him. "Walk back by yourself. We're in the middle of nowhere and it's going to be dark soon. How can you ask me to walk back? Don't you have any love for your colleagues?" Yi Jian tried to open the car door. "Love for your colleagues? You're just a bunch of data. It'd be weird if I had any love for you. No, goodbye." Shi Shang stepped on the accelerator and started the car. Yi Jian's face was covered in exhaust fumes. So angry. But Daddy can't beat her. She had already dealt with a psychopath, but there was still a psychopath waiting for her to pass. Mu Bai, this person, Shi Shang didn't want to jump to conclusions. This world was poisonous. It was supposed to be an invincible face-slapping novel in the male channel, but it turned into a crime novel, and now it turned into a strategy novel. You'll get beaten up if you keep changing the channel. Shi Shang decided to kidnap Mu Bai and try to use force to see if he could get any information out of him. If it didn't work, he'd just destroy him. After all, he's such a big danger. I'm scared. I always feel that someone is plotting against me. Before Shi Shang had time to plan to kidnap Mu Bai came to his door. When she went back, Mu Bai happened to be outside the door. Han Xiao was standing inside talking to him, with no intention of opening the door. "Very good, well done." Shi Shang drove the car straight over. When Mu Bai heard the sound, his body's self-awareness reacted faster than his brain. He dodged to the side and the car brushed past his clothes. Shi Shang shook his head regretfully. This psychopath's reaction was quite fast. Should I do it again? Shi Shang was ready to reverse the car. Mu Bai's voice sounded at the right time. "Miss Lu, are you trying to kill me?" Even after experiencing what had just happened, Mu Bai still had a calm look on his face, as if nothing had happened. But compared to the pale Miss Han inside the door, it was obvious that Shi Shang was going to hit Mu Bai with the car just now. "Yes, so stand still." Shi Shang poked his head out and said in a light tone, "Mu Bai, stand still and let her hit him?" "Miss Lu, calm down. Murder is against the law. Han Xiao opened the metal door and ran out. She grabbed Shi Shang's car window and said, "Don't tell me you want to go to prison to be a tyrant. Prison flower? Thinking about killing people at the drop of a hat, Miss Lu, are you crazy? Who said that you have to go to prison for murder?" Shi Shang rolled his eyes at Han Xiao. Han Xiao was confused. Where else could he go? Shi Shang's eyes curved. Hell. Pfft. This joke wasn't funny at all. What was Yao Yao Ling's phone number? Chapter 613. Mr. Mu, why are you looking for me? Shi Shang didn't get out of the car. She looked past Han Xiao and at Mu Bai. I'm just here to give Miss Lu something. Mu Bai put a big box on the front of Shi Shang's car. The box looked familiar. She had seen it at the auction before. What's inside? Don't tell me it's Angel's heart. Angel's heart. Mu Bai's voice was neither loud nor soft, just loud enough for Shi Shang to hear clearly. Oh my God. The pervert gave I the angel's heart. He was obviously up to no good. Shi Shang took out her phone and dialed Zhang Ju's number. Zhang Ju, there's a pervert here who wants to bribe me. You're not free. He used the angel's heart. Yes, it's the broken thing that caused you to be in such a mess. Mu Bai. Your reaction isn't right. Shi Shang threw her phone away and got out of the car with her sword. When Zhang Ju arrived with his men, the first thing they saw was the car that had been turned into scrap metal. Then they saw Mu Bai, who was tied up and lying on the ground. Mu Bai, how could it be Mu Bai? Something big happened. Mu Bai. He was about to break down, but he was a gentleman. He had to be elegant and calm. Shi Shang waved her cold iron sword and said with disdain, "You're so slow." There was a traffic jam. Zhang Ju answered seriously. How busy was the police station? Did you think everyone was like you, causing trouble for no reason? Shi Shang pointed at the box on the ground. Zhang Ju gave the people behind him a look. The people in white coats immediately went forward to straighten the box and open it. Shi Shang could tell at a glance that it was real. This thing should be in the police station, but it appeared in Mu Bai's hands. This Mu Bai was really something. Miss Lu, please tell us what happened. Zhang Ju started to follow the procedure. When I came back, he was standing at the door and said he wanted to give me something. I don't know him well, but he gave me something for no reason. It's obvious that there's something wrong. Zhang Ju's recording speed could not keep up with Shi Shang's. In the end, he gave up and turned on his phone to record. In conclusion, Mu Bai had inexplicably wanted to give the angel's heart to Shi Shang, and Shi Shang had called the police. Miss Lu, this is the heart of Angel. Do you really not want it? This question was completely Zhang Ju's personal question. Shi Shang looked at Mu Bai, who had already been invited into the car, and said leisurely, I want to live longer. Zhang Ju, on the other hand, interpreted this sentence to mean something else. However, for a lunatic to be able to resist such a huge temptation, he was much stronger than some people. Unfortunately, she was still a lunatic. Since there were surveillance cameras at the entrance, what Shi Shang said was true. Therefore, they only took Mu Bai away. As for what to do with him, it was still up for discussion. Wait, can I ask him something? Shi Shang stopped Zhang Ju, who was about to leave. No. Zhang Ju refused without thinking. When she talked to Yi Feng before, he was still very excited. Petty. Zhang Ju staggered and reached out to hold the car door. He took a deep breath, got in the car and closed the door. It was beneath his status to argue with a lunatic. Several police cars slowly left. Mu Bai's car didn't have the window closed. When it passed by Shi Shang, Mu Bai happened to turn his head. His gaze accurately met with Shi Shang's with a bit of provocation. Shi Shang silently gave him the middle finger. Come on, let's hurt each other. I'm not scared of you, idiot. Miss Lu. Han Xiao stood behind the iron gate and only popped her head out when the police cars were completely out of sight. What had happened recently was enough for her to remember for a lifetime. Go home for dinner. Shishang waved his hand and stopped halfway. He put his hands on his hips and scolded, F***CK, I forgot to ask that pervert to pay for I's car. Han Xiao. Miss Lu, your point. Compared to the car, the one in front was even more unreliable. Han Xiao felt that she needed to be alone. She couldn't keep up with her CEO's thoughts at all. When the Angel's Heart was auctioned, the media was present. The theft naturally couldn't be covered up. Soon, it became the talk of the town. Fortunately, the Angel's Heart was not lost and the suspect was caught. This suspect was a bit thought-provoking. It was Yi Feng, who was related to Xiao Linglong's case. What was more coincidental was that he was the owner of the lucky bracelet. No one knew who exposed this news, but in an instant, it set off a storm of blood on the internet. The omnipotent masses of netizens even dug out Yi Feng's 18 generations of ancestors. Although Yi Feng used software to hide his information, he couldn't stop the power of the masses. From his high school classmates to his elementary school classmates, they all jumped out to expose. With clues, how easy was it to investigate a person? Lucky was auctioned at a sky-high price of 1.2 billion. Where did Yi Feng get so much money? Hashtag how a poor mountain village boy became rich overnight and became a rising star in the circle. Hashtag this topic became the hottest topic at the moment. In the plot, Yi Feng's family background was exposed a long time later. At that time, his status and identity were already stable and wouldn't be shaken by some suspicion. But now it was different. Yi Feng was involved in 2 murder cases in a row, and now he was involved in the Angel's Heart theft case. At this time, his family background was exposed and it was incomparably eye-catching. Although Yi Feng was acquitted in the end, there were many people who were paying attention to him at this time. Yi Feng awkwardly avoided the media and returned to his rented house. He rented this house in the beginning. Later he changed his house, but in order to buy Lucky, that house was also sold. He could only temporarily live in this house that hadn't expired yet. He quickly took out his phone and clicked on the familiar software. He clicked on the task panel. The word failure made Yi Feng quickly gasp for breath. Then his gaze became firm. There was still one more chance. He still had one more chance to turn things around. Yi Feng calmed down and clicked on the task panel. However, at this time, the page was empty and there was no task posted. Ding-ling! The sudden ringtone scared Yi Feng's hand. He quickly put the phone back into his trouser pocket and took a deep breath. After confirming that there was nothing wrong with him, he got up and opened the door. A very well-behaved girl stood outside the door. Brother Yi Feng, I saw that you came back just now, so I came to see you. Yi Feng forced a smile. Thank you. Brother Yi Feng, don't worry, I believe in you. The girl encouraged Yi Feng. Those people outside are all guessing blindly, don't take it to heart. Brother Yi Feng, you haven't eaten yet, right? I made dinner for you. The girl held the thermos in her hand in front of her and looked at Yi Feng with a smile. Yi Feng opened the door. Sorry to trouble you, Xiao Wan. The girl shyly bowed her head and walked into the room. It's no trouble to be able to cook for Brother Yi Feng. Xiao Wan is very happy. The door of the room slowly closed, blocking the two of them inside. A black shadow flashed from the direction of the stairwell and disappeared very quickly. The corridor returned to silence. Chapter 614. When Yi Feng was in a daze, he heard the notification from his phone and woke up abruptly. He let go of the person in his arms and got up to get his phone. There was a pop-up window on the screen. Mission: Intimate contact with Lu Shangge, Intimacy Level 5. Yi Feng almost threw his phone away. What kind of mission is this? Intimacy Level 5. He must sleep with Lu Shangge. He wanted to strangle Lu Shangge. How could he have the mood to sleep with her? And this woman was not Lu Shangge at all. No, the police said that her DNA matched Lu Shangge's previous file. She was Lu Shangge. She lied to him on purpose. Brother Yi Feng. Someone moaned from behind. Yi Feng put down his phone, turned around and lay back on the bed. The more he thought about it, the angrier he got. He rubbed the delicate body in his arms harder. In the end, he pinned her down and violently vented. No matter how unwilling Yi Feng was, he still had to do this mission. He couldn't refuse this kind of mission that was directly issued. If he didn't do it, it meant that he failed. If he failed, it meant that he would lose this software. He couldn't fail. The mission only said to have intimate contact with Lu Shenggu. It didn't say how to do it. He still had a chance. Shi Shang didn't know that Yi Feng had such a mission, so when she saw Yi Feng holding a bouquet of roses and appearing at the entrance of Bai Nian residence, she was dumbfounded. How dare you hold a bouquet of roses and appear here? Aren't you afraid that the Xiao family will kill you? My male lead is so awesome. Shi Shang drove the new car past him, so Yi Feng didn't know that the person he was waiting for had left. When Shi Shang came back, she found that Yi Feng was still at the door. Awesome, he waited for so long. If he wasn't standing at the entrance and her car couldn't drive past, she would definitely crash into him. Anyway, the male lead wouldn't die. He could even reattach a broken arm or a broken leg. Lu Shenggu. Yi Jian's face suddenly appeared outside the car window. His roar was so loud that even Yi Feng, who was on the other side, was startled. Open the door. Yi Jian slammed on Shi Shang's car window. Last time, this woman left him in the wilderness. He had to talk to her. Yi Feng had already run over with the bouquet of roses and pushed Yi Jian aside. Shengge, I have something to say to you. Shi Shang. The male lead was looking for her? The sky was going to rain diamonds. Yi Jian. Who was this? Roar. The male lead. The male lead was fighting over the supporting female lead with him. Yi Jian waved towards the distance and the man in the suit rushed out of the car. Young master. Get him out of my way. Yi Jian pointed at Yi Feng. Without saying a word, the man in the suit stepped forward and dragged Yi Feng back. Yi Feng's physical fitness was average. Previously, when he had points, he would exchange them for body-strengthening drugs. But now, he had no points, and the supply of drugs had been cut off. He basically could not resist the man in the suit. Who are you? Let me go. Yi Feng glared at the man in the suit. The man in the suit threw him far away expressionlessly. He stood in front of him and looked down at Yi Feng. Yi Feng's figure wasn't particularly tall, but he wasn't short either. However, compared to the tall and burly man in the suit, Yi Feng seemed particularly small. Yi Feng knew that he couldn't beat this man, so he was about to go around him and go to the Shi Shang. Shengge, listen to me. The man in the suit blocked Yi Feng's way. The young master said that he was not allowed to go over. Yi Feng immediately ran in another direction. He was agile and rushed to the car window in a few steps. Shengge, listen to me. I was wrong. I really know that I was wrong. I shouldn't have been half-hearted. I will only be good to you in the future. Believe me, I have always loved you from the bottom of my heart. Shi Shang, weren't these lines said by scumbags? Male lead, please mind your identity. High and mighty. Domineering. Shengge, I know you still like me. I will listen to whatever you say in the future. Shengge, can you forgive me? In order to complete the mission, even if Yi Feng wanted to kill this woman, he still had to pretend to be affectionate and regretful. Once he completed this mission, he would definitely make this woman pay the price. Shi Shang's eyes looked through the car window into Yi Feng's eyes. It was a very calm gaze. There was no emotional fluctuation, as if it was a void. Yi Feng was about to say some sweet words, but suddenly, it was as if he was stuck. He couldn't say anything. Pull him away. Did you not eat? Yi Jian chased after the man in the suit and patted his shoulder hard. The man in the suit. Young master, don't chase after me and hit me. How am I supposed to pull him away? The man in the suit shook off his young master, went behind Yi Feng, and dragged him out of Shi Shang's car again. Shi Shang pushed the car out and walked to Yi Feng in a few steps. The male lead was so awesome. He even dared to flirt with her. "Shunga, you still like me, don't you?" Yi Feng pretended to be affectionate. "Shunga, I used to be a jerk. I don't care how you hit me or scold me, as long as you don't leave me," Shi Shang continued. "You can't live without me, right?" Yi Feng was stunned, then nodded. "I can't live without you, Shunga." Shi Shang suddenly smiled and kicked Yi Feng's crotch. "Then go to hell." Yi Feng's face suddenly turned pale. He bit his lower lip to stop himself from screaming. He twisted his face and looked at Shi Shang. "That bastard." The man in the suit who was holding Yi Feng tightened his butthole and subconsciously clamped his legs together. "Young master, I sympathize with you." Yi Jian was also shocked by Shi Shang's violent action. He stood there and didn't move for a long time. "Lu Shunga." Yi Feng gritted his teeth and squeezed out 3 words from between his teeth. The hatred in his eyes was almost overflowing. Shi Shang exclaimed and reminded him, "Why aren't you pretending to be an affectionate prince?" Yi Feng was reminded and suddenly reacted. He slowly stepped back with a ferocious look on his face. Somewhere in his crotch, the pain made him gasp. "Shunga, hit me. If you feel better, hit me. I won't be angry with you, as long as you forgive me." Shi Shang pretended to kick him again. "Do you think I'm retarded? You're obviously up to no good. You still want to hit on I. Do you think I'm as easy to hit on as Oreo?" Yi Feng saw Shi Shang's posture and suddenly began to step back. The man in the suit didn't use much strength. Yi Feng directly broke free from the man in the suit and stepped on the shock absorber belt. He staggered and fell to the ground. His head just happened to hit the roadblock next to him. That hit directly made Yi Feng's head bleed. Blood flowed down his forehead. It looked quite scary. "Retard." Shi Shang scolded and turned back to the car. Yi Feng's head was dizzy and his vision was blurry. He could only see Shi Shang's car enter by Nian residence and disappear. "Lu Shunga, wait for me." Yi Jian left the man in the suit and drove to chase after Shi Shang. The man in the suit. "Young master abandoned me again." Sina Weibo name. Little Fairy Shi Shang. Chapter 615. A car that was probably transporting goods crashed into Shi Shang's car in a panic to avoid the thief. Very good. The second car was destroyed. The pet market was crowded at this time. The collision blocked the entire road. The crowd was in chaos and the thief took the opportunity to run away. Yi Jian was stunned and didn't react for a while. Did Lu Shangge have an automatic warning system? Shi Shang looked around the crowd and locked his eyes on a certain figure. He stuffed the puppy into Yi Jian's arms and went straight to the figure. Zhang Ju swore that he really didn't want to see Shi Shang, this crazy person. But this crazy person didn't even let him go when he was on vacation. He was just accompanying his wife to buy dog food. How did he encounter such an accident and let this crazy person see him? Zhang Ju, what a coincidence. Shi Shang grabbed a girl and walked in front of Zhang Ju. Zhang Ju laughed awkwardly. "Miss Lu, you. What did this little girl do to you? Look at how scared she is. She's so inhumane. I suspect that she wants to kill me." Shi Shang pushed the girl in front of Zhang Ju. "Zhang Ju. What the hell? I want to call the police. There's a crazy person here. Come quickly." In the original owner's memory, she was very familiar with this girl in front of her. "Dongwan. This is the real crazy person, okay?" Yi Jian stood behind Shi Shang and didn't say anything. He also knew Dongwan, but he didn't understand why the author arranged such a woman for the male lead. Dongwan looked at Zhang Ju with tears in her eyes. She felt wronged and innocent. Zhang Ju's wife was immediately conquered by Dongwan's appearance. She said to Shi Shang, "Girl, let's talk nicely. Why would this little girl want to kill you? You can't just say that." Zhang Ju secretly pulled his wife and signaled her to stop talking nonsense with his eyes. Do you think this woman is the same as those little girls outside? Why are you staring at me? I didn't say anything wrong. Don't you police officers care about evidence? She immediately said that this little girl wanted to kill her. Is she suffering from paranoia? I see that this little girl doesn't even have the strength to truss a chicken. How can I murder her? Madame Zhang didn't understand Zhang Ju's painstaking efforts and instead said loudly. Dong Wan immediately nodded, tears falling down her cheeks. This big sister suddenly grabbed me, I don't even know what happened. Shi Shang rolled his eyes and reached out to touch Dong Wan's hand. What are you doing? Dong Wan screamed and pushed Shi Shang's hand away. Shi Shang held Dong Wan down and searched her body. Help! Don't touch me! You're molesting me! Dong Wan pushed the Shi Shang away angrily, but the Shi Shang was too strong for Dong Wan to resist. Hey, you little girl! Mrs. Zhang wanted to pull Shi Shang away. Shi Shang glared at her coldly, and Mrs. Zhang froze on the spot. Zhang Ju quickly pulled her back. Shi Shang quickly found a syringe in Dong Wan's sweater pocket. There was still some liquid in the syringe. Dong Wan's face turned pale for a moment, but she quickly regained her pitiful look. I don't know what this is. Shi Shang ignored Dong Wan and waved the syringe in front of Zhang Ju. Zhang Ju. Zhang Ju's face darkened. Nothing good happened every time he met her. He wanted a vacation. The few of them were brought back to the police station. The test results came out quickly. The syringe contained a very strong drug. If someone was injected with this syringe, they would die immediately. Dong Wan was brave enough to kill someone, so her mental fortitude wasn't something an ordinary person could compare with. She felt wrong the whole time and expressed that she didn't know where the syringe came from. Most importantly, Dong Wan's fingerprints were not on the syringe. The police also checked Dong Wan's social life. She was just like any other student. There was nothing special about her. Zhang Ju told Shi Shang the results of the investigation. Shi Shang crossed his legs and stared at the pale Mrs. Zhang. Shi Shang looked away and said faintly, "You can go to her house and have a look. You might find something unexpected." Yi Jian, who was holding the dog, added. Searching the house of a suspect who was carrying drugs wasn't a big deal. Zhang Ju ordered a team to search the house. The results of the search were shocking. They found a large number of medical tools in Dong Wan's house. Some of them were stained with blood. They even found human tissue in her refrigerator. Are you Conan? Zhang Ju gritted his teeth and stared at Shi Shang. Wherever you go, you die. Please call me the salt substitute of the Grim Reaper. Shi Shang smiled. Chunibu was also an illness. It had to be cured. His vacation. Zhang Ju was going crazy. He quickly ordered a task force to be set up. Shi Shang was kicked out of the police station. It was better for a psychopath like him to leave the station. Lu Shengge, you got rid of Dong Wan just like that? Yi Jian was still confused. It was too fast. Look at other people's counterattacks. They had to go through a lot of difficulties and dangers. You have to pay for what you did. Shi Shang flipped his bangs handsomely. The next second, his tone changed. How can a person like me be compared to a retard? I's goal was the sea of stars. Sleeping with Fengxi. Dong Wan was just one of the female leads. Her halo was not as strong as the female lead. It was easy to get rid of her. Wait, she seemed to have forgotten something. Shi Shang looked at the parking lot. I's car. Who's going to pay for it? Shi Shang still had things in his car. She had to get them herself. When she arrived at the crime scene, she found that her car had been towed away. When she reached the place where she left her car, she found that her car had been flipped over. The staff told her that the machine had gone out of the door and fell off when it was moving. Shi Shang was speechless. To hell with luck. Shi Shang could only turn back to the shopping mall. When Shi Shang got home, the sky was already dark. Han Xiao was holding the phone. When she saw Shi Shang coming in, she immediately greeted him. "President Liu, why didn't you answer my call?" Shi Shang put down the things in his hand and waved his hand. "I eloped with my car." Eloped? Car and cell phone? What was President Liu talking about? Ow, ow. Han Xiao looked at the bag that Shi Shang had brought back. A white furry thing was arching out of the bag. "President Liu. Dog. Dog. You've never seen a dog before?" Shi Shang took the puppy out and stuffed it into her arms. Han Xiao hugged the furry thing. It was still warm. Oh, it was really a dog. It was alive. "President Liu, should we keep it?" Shi Shang looked at her. Han Xiao's eyes were full of anticipation. "Keep it then." "I'm not keeping it. You keep it yourself. If it dares to cause trouble, I'll strangle it to death." Han Xiao hugged the puppy tightly and stepped back. Shi Shang wanted to scold her for being an idiot, but he controlled himself. He piled the boxes in front of Han Xiao and said calmly, "Happy birthday." Han Xiao. Was it her birthday today? Thinking about it carefully, it seemed to be true. Later, Han Xiao went back to open the presents. When she saw the presents inside, her face turned red. When she was washing her clothes this morning, she found that her bra was broken and threw it away. She remembered that President Liu happened to walk past her. She didn't expect President Liu to buy her a new bra that night. "Ah, I want to marry President Liu. I want to give President Liu a baby. Asterisk, please vote for me. Please vote for me T. Carrot T. Please vote for me if you love me. I like all the votes." Chapter 616. Dongwan's case was soon solved because of the conclusive evidence. Later, the police found out that she was related to Xiao Linglong's death. Dongwan claimed that she was mentally ill. After the hospital examination, it was confirmed that Dongwan had intermittent mental illness. But according to the investigation of the scene, Dongwan had to bear criminal responsibility for her rational disposal of the body and purposeful preparation of the murder. Dongwan was sentenced to life imprisonment because of the nature of the crime. She would probably only be able to see that small enclosed world for the rest of her life. Shi Shang had some doubts about Dongwan's case. Xiao Linglong's death was not something that Dongwan could do, but Dongwan could tell all the details. This had nothing to do with her anyway. Shi Shang was only curious for a moment before she stopped asking about it. Since it had nothing to do with her, she decided to let it go. Yifeng didn't expect that he had slept with a psychopathic murderer. He was already mentally weak and hadn't slept for a few days. When he finally fell asleep, he suddenly heard a soft sound and opened his eyes. He met a pair of eyes full of murderous intent. "It's you!" Yifeng screamed. His hoarse voice was particularly harsh in the dark. The woman immediately pressed on his chest and pointed a sharp knife at his neck. "Long time no see, Yifeng." The woman's softness pressed on him, but Yifeng couldn't feel any warmth. "You're here to kill me?" This woman used him and now she was here to kill him. The woman approached Yifeng and breathed in his ear. "I took someone's money to solve their problem. Someone wants to know your secret." Yifeng's brain exploded. Someone wanted to know his secret? What was his secret? It was the software that appeared on his phone out of nowhere. "Since we had a good time in bed, tell me what your secret is and I won't kill you." The woman sat beside Yifeng and stroked his body with her fingers. Yifeng's body was quite good. It felt good to the touch and he was very strong in that aspect. Which woman didn't like men who were strong in bed? "I don't know what you're talking about." He couldn't let anyone know his secret. That was his only chance to turn the tables. Yifeng's eyes glanced at his phone. The woman sneered and knocked Yifeng out. She took his phone and unlocked it with his fingerprint. There weren't many apps on it. Not only was the name, Tycoon Self-Cultivation, strange, even the icon was so strange. The woman opened the software and frowned at first. Then, she quickly swiped a few times. After seeing a few projects in the completed missions, a strange look flashed in her eyes. When she came, she had already received a hint that this should be what she was looking for. How could Yi Feng earn so much money with just this software? But when she thought about it, she felt that this was the only way Yi Feng could earn so much money in such a short time. The woman glanced at the man on the bed. In the end, she didn't do anything. Without this, he probably wouldn't be able to cause any trouble. Just as the woman was about to leave, a red light flashed before her eyes. She saw the red bracelet that was placed on top of the locker. After hesitating for a few seconds, the woman picked up the bracelet and erased all traces of her presence. Then, she left as quietly as she came. The woman handed the phone to the buyer. The buyer looked at the things on the software. At first, he didn't understand, but when he saw the completed tasks, he understood. Ha ha ha, well done, Ing. The buyer laughed and praised the woman. Her code name was Ing. Ing rubbed Lucky on her wrist. When do I pay? Pay now, pay now. The buyer asked someone to bring the check. Ding, a message popped up on the phone screen. Mission failed. Punishment implemented. Unbinding. About 3 seconds later, the screen went black. When he turned on the phone again, the software was gone. The buyer searched for a long time but couldn't find the software. He also couldn't find it when he turned on the phone. Why is it gone? The buyer stood up agitatedly and questioned Ing loudly. Ing took the phone and looked. The software was indeed gone. This has nothing to do with me. My mission has been completed. Pay me. Ing put down the phone and looked at the buyer. The buyer was angry at the moment. How could he pay? The two of them immediately started to argue. In the end, the buyer somehow saw the bracelet on Ying's wrist and suddenly went into a frenzy. Kill her. F***CK. Ing cursed and quickly looked for cover. However, this place was very spacious. There were people all around and at the door. As soon as she moved, there were bullets coming from several directions. Ear-piercing gunshots kept ringing in this space. After a while, the gunshots stopped. Ying's body fell to the ground. Blood slowly flowed out from her body and dyed the bracelet on her wrist. The blood-like color seemed to be getting brighter. Yi Feng lost the cheat and couldn't recover. It was a long time later when he found out that he couldn't do it. And since then, no matter what he did, he couldn't succeed. No matter what work he did, it wouldn't take more than 3 days. Later, there was a report. #The promising upstart in the past is now a homeless man on the street. A snake can never become a dragon. When Shishang heard about Yi Feng again, it was a call from Zhongju. Yi Feng drowned. He got a cheat that allowed him to soar to the sky when he drowned. After losing the cheat, he drowned. It started with water. Finally, water. Do you think the author has bad intentions towards the male lead? Yi Jian asked Shishang with a strange expression. Look at the women the author matched with the male lead. Which one of them was normal? Alright, the normal one died tragically. Full of bad intentions. Shishang glanced at Yi Jian. Is your mission still there? Speaking of this, Yi Jian was depressed, of course. Do you think I like to come here all day? I'm a rich man now. I only need to spend money every day. Who doesn't like this kind of life? Then you'll never be able to complete it in this lifetime. Shishang smiled. Why? Shishang smiled, because I have someone I like. She went to find other villains, but none of them were Feng Ci. Feng Ci wasn't in this world. You have someone you like? Who? Mu Bai. That man seemed to be very quiet recently. Even if she saw him occasionally, he didn't do anything. Very strange. Before Shishang could answer, Yi Jian shook his head. No, you can't like Mu Bai. Then who do you like? It's quite unlucky to be liked by you. Swish. Damn. Yi Jian quickly jumped away. Lu Shengge, no one will want you like this. Who can stand such violence? Don't worry. Someone will definitely want me. Shi Shang's iron sword continued to slash. Yi Jian quickly slipped out of the door and was greeted with a bare tree trunk. His mouth twitched and he quickly got into the car and left. If someone really wanted this woman, he would prostrate himself in admiration. Thank goodness someone took in this lunatic. Feng Ci. I heard someone wants to prostrate themselves before me? Yi Jian, really? Shi Shang, would I spout nonsense? Yi Jian, no, you only know how to talk nonsense. Shi Shang, where is I's sword? Feng Ci, obediently handing over the sword. Yi Jian, hey, Zhang Ju, please call the Dog Lover Association. Why are you calling us? We're very busy. Chapter 617. At a Charity Gala. This was a charity gala led by the government to donate money to the children in the earthquake-stricken mountainous area. Zhang Ju, who had been promoted to chief of the city bureau, naturally had to attend. When he entered the venue, he heard someone shouting behind him. Lu Shengge, wait, there's no ghost chasing you, why are you walking so fast? You're a woman, can't you walk more like a woman? He turned around and saw Shi Shang strutting towards him. Indeed, he did not look like a woman. Zhang Ju, are you here for the charity gala? Shi Shang stopped in front of Zhang Ju. Did you bring money this time? As expected, he did not want to see her at all. Has Miss Lu made a comeback? Of course she has more money than you. Shi Shang laughed arrogantly. Zhang Ju. He was an honest and upright police officer, so what if he had no money? So what? Zhang Ju walked in angrily. Shi Shang shrugged and followed him. Isn't this Lu Shengge? I haven't seen her for a long time. Wasn't there a rumor that she was kept as a mistress? Why is there no news after that? You just came back from the mountains? Those murder cases were so serious. Who had time to care about who she was kept as a mistress? This Lu Shengge is quite unlucky. She lost her company and got involved in a murder case. Isn't the truth out now? Is Lu Shengge a mistress or not? Who knows? Anyway, no one has seen her walking with any man. Yi Jian walked in front of the few people who were chatting happily. Am I not a person? Aren't you Lu Shangji's follower? Someone looked at Yi Jian for a long time and squeezed out a sentence. Follower. Follower? He was a follower. Was there a follower as handsome and rich as him? You bunch of blind people. So angry. Lu Shengge, come out and help Daddy kill people. Ha. A chuckle came from behind Yi Jian. Chairman Mu. Hello, Chairman Mu. Mu Bai nodded slightly as a greeting to the others. These people looked at each other and quickly dispersed, leaving Mu Bai and Yi Jian alone. Yi Jian turned and stared at him. So what if someone knows you? She's hard to deal with, right? Mu Bai said softly. Yi Jian frowned. Why did this man sound like he was gloating? Good luck. Mu Bai probably wanted to reach out and pat him on the shoulder, but he retracted his hand halfway and brought him inside. Yi Jian, was there something wrong with him? The traditional model of the charity gala was a charity auction. This was to give these people a reason to donate. Everyone wanted a good reputation, so naturally, they wouldn't be stingy with their money. Coincidentally, Shi Shang was sitting with Chief Zhang again. Yi Jian was sitting beside her. He was holding up Shi Shang's sign one moment, then holding up his own sign the next. He was very busy. Lu Shengge still has money? The bankrupt CEO actually dared to come to the auction? I've never seen a bankrupt CEO so unaware. Damn it, he must have taken the wrong script. She seems to be living a good life. Maybe she's really being kept by someone. TSK. It's good to be pretty. Even if she's bankrupt, there are still men who want her. Heh. You still have to find a good man. What if he's a married man? Wouldn't she just be a mistress and break up a bad family? She's too pretty, but she's still a vixen. Chief Zhang heard the whispers behind him from time to time. Although he didn't really like Shi Shang, this crazy person, these people behind him were too mean. "You're not angry?" Chief Zhang asked. "Huh?" Shi Shang was stunned for a moment. When he heard the people behind him saying that she was shameless, he suddenly understood. It's not worth it to argue with a retard. People like me will always be jealous. You'll get used to it. Chief Zhang. How could he still be so proud of himself? You win. Don't you feel nervous being talked about like this all the time? It was indeed better to be a fair and honest police officer. The charity auction went smoothly. However, there was a problem at the end of the gala. Someone had died. He had died in a completely enclosed resting room. Chief Zhang looked at Shi Shang frantically. "I'm possessed by the Grim Reaper. I can't help it." Shi Shang shrugged innocently. "I don't want to see you for the rest of my life." Chief Zhang threw this sentence and walked upstairs to the lounge. When he went upstairs, a figure followed the crowd downstairs and left. A red light flashed on his wrist and he brushed past Chief Zhang. Shi Shang knew that Mu Bai had been keeping an eye on her. Shi Shang tried a few times and found that Mu Bai was much smarter than the other retards. He always had a way to protect himself. Until she left this world, Mu Bai did not do anything to her on the surface. However, Shi Shang felt that this man must have something to do with the accidents she encountered later on. Unfortunately, she didn't have any evidence and couldn't catch him. Later on, Mu Bai went abroad and didn't even show his face. As for that retard Yi Jian, the mission had a time limit. Once the time was up, he would naturally die. Before he left, he even told Shi Shang that they would meet again when they were free. Why would they meet again when they were free? They didn't belong to the same world. Shi Shang returned to the system space. It was as quiet as usual. She walked slowly to the screen and placed her palm on the edge of the screen. Why isn't Feng Ci in this world? System, where did you hide Feng Ci from I? Host, you cut off all the channels. I can't contact him either. Shi Shang didn't know if it was an illusion or not, but she felt that the system was gloating. My host is amazing. You can actually hear the schadenfreude in my electronic voice. What's wrong with Mu Bai? She changed the question. The system was silent for a long time. The data on the screen was jumping rapidly. Undetectable. Oh. Shi Shang tilted her head and looked at the screen with obscure eyes. The system was panicking. How could it be undetectable? Master, come back quickly. I think I'm sick. The system checked a few times, but the results were undetectable. Shi Shang took out the tablet and checked the system's database. It looked normal, but she couldn't see some of the data because of her limited access. Shi Shang put away the tablet and let the system refresh the data. Name, Shi Shang moral points, 272000 health points, 30 contribution points, 31,000 mission level. Emission score, 79 side mission, failed side mission reward, none item list, Queen's Crown, Ghost King's Heart, Dark Knight Shi Shang. Why did the system deduct so many points from I? Because you didn't complete the side mission. Although the angel's heart was sent to the museum, Lucky was still wandering outside. Many people died because of this. How could this be counted as I's fault? Was I a trash can? System data. That's how it was calculated. Why was it so fierce? It was also calculated according to the system's data. Master, the host is torturing the system. I miss you. Come back quickly. Asterisk, the 19th world was completed. It was going to be the 20th world soon. 23333. That was fast. Mini theater system. Master, when are you coming back? System Master. I'm busy. System. Master, are you not coming back? System Master. Stop talking nonsense. I'll be back. Shi Shang. Are you coming back to be tortured? System Master. I need one more person. I'm leaving. System Master, come back. Chapter 6:18. Everyone wanted to farm Hua Meng Meng's equipment. Shi Shang opened her eyes and found a few people standing in front of her. All kinds of cool lights were shining on her. It's almost time to freeze. Everyone, use your ultimate skills. A few people shouted a few words at the same time. Then, Shi Shang saw the skill bar above their heads. Game? Damn. It's so realistic. Is it holographic? Shi Shang. Now is not the time to talk about this. These people wanted to kill her. Shi Shang instinctively took out her sword, but what she took out was a strange scepter. The scepter was silver. 2 dragons coiled from the bottom. The dragon's head was at the top, with its mouth wide open. A transparent pearl was embedded in the middle. As soon as the scepter was taken out, Shi Shang felt the people opposite her were excited. Their skill bar was almost finished. A large amount of light was shining on her. Shi Shang subconsciously raised her scepter. When the light hit the scepter, it scattered in all directions and hit the people in front of her, causing them to be wiped out in a matter of minutes. After the light dispersed, Shi Shang was left with corpses lying on the ground. World, you'll suffer. Another wipeout. World, ancestor, stop fooling around. Even the people from Quick Shadow can't beat them. It's normal for them to be wiped out. World, a man's true colors. Dream of Shi Tang's people. Didn't you say that you can definitely pass this time? You've been slapped in the face. Ha 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 ha. World, a ray of sunshine. Stop being sarcastic. Come at us if you can. Shi Shang looked at the rows of messages floating above her head. Her mouth twitched. If she was not mistaken, You'll Suffer was the man lying in front of her. So what the hell was she? An NPC? Asterisk flips table asterisk what kind of resentment did an NPC have? Shi Shang fumbled around and pulled out the attribute window. Nickname, Hua Meng Meng, NPC, level, 80 identity, Master of Shenju Palace Strength, 56524 Chivalry, 0 Reputation, 1563 Equipment, Moon Shadow Scepter, drop, Underworld Water, drop, Billowy Cloud Dress. The equipment column almost blinded Shi Shang's eyes. They were all level 70 to 80 equipment, but there were not many drops. Only the Moon Shadow Scepter, Underworld Water, and a few costumes were dropped. Shi Shang had already dug out some information from the chat. She was the biggest boss that had just been updated. Currently, the players were only at level 80. Defeating her would drop the Moon Shadow Scepter. This item was a divine artifact and there was only one in each server. It could be upgraded and become a growth-type weapon. Shi Shang sized up the scepter. It was so ugly. Where his eyes soared. Shi Shang looked at the person lying on the ground. Since it was a game, a sinister smile appeared on her face, and the people who were quarreling on the ground suddenly became alert. Nearby, you'll suffer. Boss, do you feel that it's suddenly become cold? Players couldn't speak after they died. They could only type in the public chat. Nearby, a ray of sunshine. Little show, you've developed feelings from playing games? Nearby, majestic presence. Boss's sense of reality is 0. You can't experience what we feel. Ha 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 ha. Nearby, a ray of sunshine. I'm still your boss if you don't talk about this. Nearby, you'll suffer. Ha ha ha, boss is too stupid. Nearby, a ray of sunshine. I'll delete my account and start over. Nearby, Zhonghu's novice wolf. Give me the position of the leader. Nearby, a ray of sunshine. You guys are eyeing my position. I won't delete my account. Just when they were distracted, Shi Shang had already walked to their corpses and looted from the item column. As expected of a big boss, there were a lot of items dropped. Nearby, you'll suffer. Damn, Hua Meng Meng is here. What does she want? Nearby, Zhonghu's novice wolf. Nothing good. This holographic game was famous for its perverted nature. Not only could players prank NPCs, but NPCs could also prank players. NPCs were no different from players except for the fact that they could issue missions and drop some items. They could even accept missions. Players had a love-hate relationship with NPCs. Shi Shang found it strange that they didn't return to the resurrection point after being wiped out. They also didn't use any items. Why were they just lying there and chatting? She definitely wouldn't ask such a stupid question. It would make her seem stupid. So she decided to take revenge. There were a few types of items to prank players. Of course, to ensure the player's physical and mental health, they wouldn't be too bloody and violent. Shi Shang chose the more despicable one, which was to strip them. Announcement: Hua Meng Meng used an item, naked, on player, majestic presence. Announcement: Hua Meng Meng used an item, naked, on player, you'll suffer. Announcement: These announcements were made from the top. All players in the server could see it. World Ancestor, stop fooling around. Hua Meng Meng? World: Your daddy is online. Isn't Hua Meng Meng the master of Shenju Palace recently? She actually used an item, naked, on Dream of Shi Tang's players. World: A man's true colors. What did Dream of Shi Tang's players do to Hua Meng Meng? They actually made her use an item. Ha ha ha. At this moment, several players from Dream of Shi Tang. Nearby, majestic presence. Is Hua Meng Meng beastly? Is she going to force herself on us? Nearby, a ray of sunshine. The game company hasn't developed this function yet, right? Hua Meng Meng, what the F***CK, leave me a pair of underwear. Shi Shang only left when he saw a circle of men lying on the ground with only their underwear left. Nearby, you'll suffer. Hua Meng Meng left. Nearby, majestic presence. Boss, use your beauty to charm her. Nearby, a ray of sunshine. I'm lying on the ground. Shi Shang left that place. He could no longer see the conversations on the nearby forums. This map was quite big. Shi Shang walked for a long time before he saw a palace. There were guards with swords guarding outside the palace. Seeing him return, they immediately bowed and saluted. The palace door opened silently. Shi Shang walked in calmly. After entering the palace door closed. The palace was empty. Nothing was happening. Shi Shang found a safer place and began to receive the plot. This was a holographic MMORPG. This game was called Troubled World. It was also the world's first holographic MMORPG. The female lead was called Lu Jin. She was a newbie gamer. When she entered the game, she knew nothing at all. However, her account was a lucky account. She had a lucky bonus. Whether it was the drop rate of killing monsters or the success rate of making things, it would increase by 50%. After entering the game, the female lead met the Almighty, a lifetime of peace, by chance. When the Almighty was confessed to, he used her as a shield. Therefore, the female lead, who was still a noob, instantly became the public enemy of the women in this district. She did not have much level to begin with. She was directly killed back to level 0. It was worth mentioning that this crazy game did not have a newbie protection period. Therefore, the female lead had a deep grudge against the guru. However, the guru wanted to help the female lead level up. He even said that whoever dared to touch the female lead would be going against him. This guru, who looked like a CEO, was naturally the male lead, Liang Bing. Asterisk today's Q&A. Which world is Ingyu from? Chapter 619. To put it bluntly, this was the story of a newbie gamer hugging a game guru and finally dominating the game with her golden finger. So what did this have to do with her as an NPC? It had a lot to do with her. The male lead Liang Bing and the female lead Lu Jin were siblings in name. Liang Bing's father married Lu Jin's mother, so they were in the same household. Lu Jin became a vegetable because of an accident. Liang Bing only realized that he liked Lu Jin after Lu Jin became a vegetable, so he tried to wake Lu Jin up. That was why the game, Troubled World, was developed. Liang Bing wanted Lu Jin to come back to life in the game. Maybe she would wake up because of this. Reality proved that Liang Bing did it. Lu Jin really appeared in the game as a player. And to develop such a project, there must be sacrifices. Hua Meng Meng was such a sacrifice. She was also a vegetable. She was the first living test subject to be experimented on. There must be many problems in the first experiment. Hua Meng Meng did not appear as a player, but as an NPC. The R&D team did not find anyone in the newbie village. They thought that she did not succeed and gave up on her. But for some reason, her consciousness was always in the NPC body of Hua Meng Meng. But at that time, the game was not online yet. Hua Meng Meng could not see anyone and did not know where she was. She did not know how long she stayed in the palace. It was dark outside. Other than anxiety, she was only scared. When the game was online, the map was discovered and there were different scenery outside. Hua Meng Meng went out curiously, but she was beaten up before she could see what was outside. NPCs had no perception, but Hua Meng Meng was beaten up for no reason. She fought back reflexively. This NPC setting was very high. Even if Hua Meng Meng did not know how to play games, she could kill all the players without much effort. Later, Hua Meng Meng knew that she was in a game. She knew that she was still in the original world. She wanted to find someone to help pass a message to her parents to save her. The players thought that it was a game setting and asked in the World Channel. Coincidentally, the male lead saw it. The male lead went to see Hua Meng Meng. After confirming that she was really the first test subject, he promised to take her out of the game, but she could not tell anyone about it. Hua Meng Meng wanted to go out at that time. The male lead was handsome. The girl who just fell in love agreed immediately. She followed the male lead's instructions and played the role of Hua Meng Meng as an NPC. However, what awaited her was the collapse of the entire map. It would be strange if Hua Meng Meng was not angry after being treated as a test subject for no reason and then destroyed for no reason. Hua Meng Meng had two wishes. The first was to restore his human body. Secondly, she had to find out why Liang Bing had agreed to take her out and why he had gone back on his word and destroyed her. In this plot, the female lead did not do anything. The male lead did all these behind the female lead's back. So if it weren't for Hua Meng Meng's memories, who would know that the male lead did such a wicked thing? This Liang Bing was really something. In order to save the female lead, he actually carried out such crazy human experiments. No matter which dimension, human experimentation was condemned. The male lead chose to destroy Hua Meng Meng in the end, either because he was afraid that Hua Meng Meng would leak something out, or something happened to the female lead. But at the end of the plot, the female lead and the male lead got married and had a child in real life, so the reason for this was still to be investigated. She came here not long after the map was discovered. The players in the game formed a group to kill her and get equipment to level up. Shi Shang looted the scepter from before. This thing was a weapon dropped from the first clear. Before it was dropped, it belonged to her. Game boss. Very well, then let's torture the players and break up the couple. World, a lifetime of peace. Lu Jin is mine. Whoever dares to touch her, I'll kill them every time I see them. Shi Shang had just tidied up his things when a message floated above his head. To her, it was already half of the plot, but to the female lead, it was just the beginning. A pitiful cannon fodder who could not survive more than 3 episodes. World, the Great July, let's take a picture together, Guru. World July skirt. Guru, you're playing a shitty game again. World July's underwear, swipe July. World July's socks, drop new chapters. World July's jacket, drop new chapters. World, your daddy is online, who is Lu Jin? How could she let Guru come to the world? World, a man's true colors, Lu Jin? I saw her yesterday. She's just a smurf. How did Guru get involved with a smurf? Seeking gossip. As more and more people came to the world, a lifetime of peace's message was quickly blocked. Shi Shang opened the World Channel, tried to type a sentence on it, and pressed send. A bullet box suddenly popped up in front of his eyes. If you don't have enough gold coins, please recharge. Shi Shang. An NPC actually needed gold coins to speak. She even earned money from her own people. That was enough. Report. The palace door opened silently, and an NPC with a Shenju palace attendant above his head ran in. Shi Shang. What the hell was a Shenju palace attendant? Palace master. There are players outside. Shi Shang frowned. He remembered that this dungeon could only be opened 3 times before the game was cleared. It had already been opened 3 times today, right? So how did the players come in? How many people? 10 people. 5 people in a team, and 10 people in a group. This was a bug. To kill her, they could only form a team, okay? Why could they form a team? F***CK. Let's go out and have a look. Shi Shang waved his sleeves domineeringly, but his sleeves were too big, and they were the type that floated in the wind. With a wave of his sleeves, Shi Shang's face was smeared. Flips table. What happened to showing off to I? Shi Shang brushed away the layers of gauze that were still fluttering in the air, took off his jacket directly, and chose an outfit suitable for fighting from his equipment. Shi Shang walked out of the palace, and there was a group of people with the nickname Shenju Palace Attendant at the door. On the other side of the palace, on the square, a few players were killing monsters. Shi Shang was familiar with a few of them. They were the players who were still chatting after they died. A Ray of Sunshine was the guild leader of Dream of Shi Tang. You Submissive, Little White Wolf, and Majestic Presence were all members of Dream of Shi Tang. The others were from another guild. These people were killing monsters very quickly, and they rushed straight to Shi Shang after they cleared the monsters, and used their skills without hesitation. Shi Shang took out his scepter. Hua Meng Meng took the scepter, F***CK. Didn't they say that she would take the scepter last? Once the scepter was taken out, there was an uproar. Pay attention to the health. We'll rush over. A Ray of Sunshine quickly ordered. The few people from Dream of Shi Tang immediately followed A Ray of Sunshine, and under the cover of the others, they arrived at the bottom of Shi Shang's stairs. However, just as they stood firmly, they did not even have the time to use their skills, and they all died at the same time. ## begging for sunflower seed flavored votes today. ## begging for monthly votes. Begging for monthly votes. There are monthly votes at the beginning of the month. Hurry up and vote. #12/01/2016 Book Review Babe, Ming Yi. 12/02/2016 Book Review Babe, Winter's Twilight. Please follow the guidelines of the top post in the book review section to receive your red packet. You're tuning in to the Narrate and Escape YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.